One morning, a boy named Juo Young hurries to the bathroom mirror and grabs his left eye at the same time. He discovers a strange red symbol has appeared in his eye. He also sees some kind of information above his head, like his own name. But like most people, he ignores it and heads to school as if nothing weird happened, even though his eye starts looking like it belongs to Sasuke from Naruto. At school, Juo is just an ordinary guy with average looks and pretty bad grades. He's going to cram school because he failed an exam that everyone else passed. He's terrible at sports, but loves video games a lot. Since he can't fight back, he gets picked on and bullied after someone catches him liking a popular girl. While thinking about what happened, his eye starts acting strange again. He begins seeing information about everyone around him. Juo wonders if this is happening because he's been playing too much ranked Valorant, but the details are too real to be fake. He can see people's names and ages clearly, but he doesn't notice other stuff like difficulty or interest. Then he sees that the info about girls is more detailed than the guys. Sadly, he notices all the girls' interest in him is at 0. This makes him feel bad, thinking he's super boring. Eventually, he gets over it and spots the popular girl, Kim Ran, with 2 cool guys asking her out. His friend Park Jawoon asks if he wants to play Tekken later, but Juo says no because he has to study. Suddenly, his special eye turns on again, and he looks at Ran. To his shock, her interest level is now at 1. He stares at her, unable to believe the school's queen bee might actually like him a tiny bit. Ran catches him staring and calls him out, asking why he's looking at people with such creepy eyes. The whole class turns to watch them. Juo freaks out and says she's imagining things. She gets closer and asks if he's calling her a liar, while Juo yells that she caught him staring at her armor. Ran raises her hand, and Juo thinks he's done for as his life flashes before his eyes. But then, he looks up and sees Ran frozen, like time has stopped. It turns out his eye's power, called stopwatch, has kicked in, freezing time for 5 minutes. A pop-up appears, saying a tutorial quest has started. He has to make Ran scream really loud, and if he succeeds, her interest in him will jump by 20 points, plus something called target domination will also go up by 20. Totally confused, Juo starts to nervously smile. 5 minutes later, Ran is shaking on the ground, and everyone's stunned that the loser Juo has vanished. Ran feels strange, like something weird just happened to her super fast, and she keeps trembling, wondering why her body feels so off. Meanwhile, Juo is somehow back home, muttering that things could have gone totally crazy. During the 5 frozen minutes, Juo finished his quest and zipped back home in an instant. When he got there, his eye sparked up again, and messages popped up saying he'd leveled up. With this new level, he unlocked a skill called Eye of Incubus. Then another message told him to check his status window, which appeared like a game screen full of info about himself. He noticed his stats were pretty weak, even though he had a cool nickname. Soon, another message showed he had 2 unfinished quests. Curious, he tapped the screen, and it opened a list of his quests, one about boosting his strength, and another about conquering. Juo groaned about the strength training quest but brushed it off, excited that his time-freezing power could turn him from a loser into a strong guy. His celebration got cut short when someone behind him said, "Excuse me?" He turned to see his red-headed neighbor next door. Juo was stunned to realize a pretty girl lived so close, and I was just as surprised to learn he lived alone. He asked why she was there, and she told him to quiet down because she was studying for exams. While they talked, Juo realized he could see detailed info about people now, but he couldn't because he didn't have enough me. Confused, he sighed and started messing with his eye, adding points to me while ignoring his neighbor standing right there. This unlocked extra details about her, Park Nami, like her measurements and single status, making Juo smirk at her for scolding him. He activated stopwatch level 2 to freeze time again, and he grew a couple of inches taller, proving he could really control time. He called out Nami's name and tried the same trick he pulled on Ran, but it backfired. He got zapped for messing with someone whose interest in him was 0. Juo dropped to his knees and Nami rushed to help, thinking he was sick. The next day at school, Juo was deep in thought about the day before when Ran broke in and told him to come with her to the bathroom. There, she asked what really happened yesterday, but Juo played it cool, acting like nothing went down. This made Ran yell, accusing him of making her underwear vanish. Since leveling up, Juo felt like a new guy and flipped it back on her, saying she was just trying to get his attention. He kept pushing and Ran started shaking, but she warned him they were still in the girls' bathroom and threatened to scream. Juo dared her to try, saying she couldn't. When Ran opened her mouth to call his bluff, Juo used his eye to freeze time again. Moments later, Ran was alone and couldn't speak. Turns out Juo could now turn a person's mind on or off. He popped back in and asked if she was even a little shocked. He bragged that even though her mind was awake, she couldn't talk or move, adding she should have been nicer to him. Juo pulled her close and said he was like a demon king from games or anime. What happened next is too wild to describe, so just picture it. Oh, and he started controlling her and learned what she really liked. After a few minutes, a countdown warned him his power would end in 10 seconds. Stuck in a bad spot, Juo couldn't escape, and when his ability ran out, he thought he was toast. He panicked as Ran started waking up, but then her interest in him shot up to 40. Thinking fast, Juo tried to spook her by asking if she liked pineapple juice. She got shy, but he said there was no reason to feel weird about it. He claimed her drinking pineapple juice made a magical contract, saying his pineapple had strong magic and curses, so now she belonged to him. Juo warned that if she didn't obey, she'd be in big trouble, and she actually bought it all, even the part about Santa being real. To his shock, Ran started crying and clung to him. To calm her down, he said that even though he's a mighty demon king, she wasn't cursed right away. He told her she's his type, pretty and fit, so she's perfect for a demon king like him. Juo added that if she listened to him, she'd get riches, fame, and anything she wanted. Just then, the bathroom door creaked open, so he grabbed her arm and they hid in a stall. Seizing the moment, he called it sussy time and asked her to show off her skills. Somehow, they ended up on a pretend bike ride in the stall, but the buzzing electric motor was tough to keep quiet from everyone else in the room. Unfortunately, they overfilled the bike by mistake, and the story picks up with Juo sticking close to Ran. The Demon King makes sure she's got enough protein. Meanwhile, he levels up and gets stronger, and Ran's interest in him hits the max. Juo gains a new skill faster than you can say Dio, and they teleport back home. Ran heads to the shower and starts talking to herself, thinking a loser like Juo couldn't really be a Demon King. She says there's no way that's real, even though he can stop time. She grumbles that this shouldn't happen to the most popular girl in school. As she rants, she admits she's starting to like him, which makes her shiver at the thought. Suddenly, she falls to the floor, totally confused about what's going on. She feels a surge of energy and thinks Juo's punishing her. Meanwhile, Juo's thrilled with how the day went and keeps shouting that he's a real Demon King now. But a problem pops up, and he gets sidetracked figuring out how to use his leftover stat points. He's leveled up twice since getting his powers, boosting his strength, agility, stamina, and me, with 6 points still left. He tries putting 2 points into strength, and abs start showing up on his belly. Now he's stuck wondering if he should dump all his points into strength to get super buff like Arnold, or save some for me to improve his skills. Then a notification says Ran's thinking about him even though he didn't sneeze. Another pop-up asks if he wants to use soul connecting, and like clicking yes in a game queue, he hits it fast. A dark circle appears under him, taking him straight to Ran, but now he's invisible, like a sneaky fart. He scans the room and sees Ran collapsed right next to him. He tries to help, but she thinks she's hearing voices, not knowing an invisible guy is there. Thinking she's about to get punished, she starts apologizing, but it backfires. Juo hears her trash-talking him. She begs more, but he just asks if she's okay. She says she's feeling really hot, though Juo knows what she really means. He tells her to fix it herself before ordering more pineapples. Somehow, she picks up French and says, "Pardon," so Juo turns into a cheerleader and tells her, "Just do it." She listens, scared of making the Demon King mad. While Juo watches, she randomly learns French again, so he helps her with some romantic French words, pretending to be a jackhammer. They get interrupted by a ringing phone but try to ignore it. The phone rings again, and Juo checks it. Turns out some simp is texting her. The next day, Juo is back at school, starting to realize he's got some pretty cool powers and his stats are getting better. As class begins, he sees the same classmates, but now the girls who didn't care about him before are slowly showing interest, one by one. To his surprise, one girl even says, "Good morning," as she walks by, and he mumbles an awkward reply. Moments later, he hears another girl say he's starting to look cute. In just 2 days, he's gone from a nobody to someone a girl actually wants to sit next to. Shocked, he freezes when she asks, and she has to ask again because he doesn't answer. Finally, he manages to say, "Of course," but he still acts like his old shy self. Luckily, something wild happens, like the Fire Nation attacking, and his eye powers kick in again. This time, he checks out Park Ne and sees her interest level is at 8. Like in every anime where the hero builds a harem, he uses his powers without thinking twice and takes a closer look at her. He starts searching for pillows because he's got sneaky ideas, but he finds out she's super innocent. While everyone's frozen, he talks to himself, but suddenly he gets hit with a penalty for her low interest. He half expected this since the tutorial's over, and he hopes for a new domination quest to pop up. But when time unfreezes, nothing happens, and he's let down. Ne snaps awake, feeling off but steady, and notices Juo staring at her. With his smooth charm, he just says, "Hi," and she starts swooning over our ultra-confident guy. Her interest jumps from 8 to 9 just because he looked at her. Juo starts plotting in his head, knowing he's still got Ran under his thumb. Speaking of Ran, she's been acting like she's craving pineapple juice lately, so Juo decides to make her jealous. It works. When a popular guy talks to her, she ignores him, too busy fuming. She stands up, still brushing the guy off, and kicks Ne's chair, telling her to switch seats. She yells it again, shocking the popular crowd, who start whispering that Ran might actually like Juo. Hearing this, our simp king starts scheming and warns his friends to back off. Not done yet, he heads toward the demon king, himself. Ran finally sits next to an annoyed Juo who scolds her for messing up his harem plans. She feels bad, but he teases her, saying she's jealous, lightening the mood. Then he comforts her, saying she's his first, so she shouldn't worry too much, and Ran feels a bit better. Juo asks Ran if she followed his orders from last night, and she says yes. Turns out he picked her outfit, and she's missing a few things. Then Juo stands up to leave the room, but a simp blindsides him, knocking him down. The simp calls him a loser, but Juo secretly uses his trump card. Ran gets mad at the simp while Juo taps into his inner power. He takes a strong stance, like an earthbender, and gets back up. Now the simp's in trouble. Juo starts trash-talking the blonde guy, Yoongjun, and his eye powers kick in. He sees Yoongjun's strength is only 7, so he teases him, calling him a weak little boy. With a quick punch, Juo sends Yoongjun flying across the room. Amazed at his own strength, he whispers to himself that a few more levels will turn him into Superman. Like a true king, he tells Yoongjun he only seemed weak before because he was playing with him. Meanwhile, Ran's buzzing with excitement, watching the old loser Juo become a real man. Juo spares Yoongjun and tells him to follow him outside. Ran sticks by Juo's side, while Yoongjun trails behind, confused about what's going on. He asks why Juo brought Ran too, and Juo says he just wanted Yoongjun to see something cool. Juo pulls Ran close and makes Yoongjun watch, sparking jealousy. Ran starts following Juo's orders, leaving Yoongjun stunned. Juo keeps giving commands, and Ran happily goes along with them. Yoongjun looks like he's about to lose it, like he needs a bathroom break. Things heat up so fast, it's like watching a rocket take off. Yoongjun ends up looking like a Teen Titans character and tries using his own powers, going all in. But instead of facing a big punch, he gets kicked hard and goes down fast. Juo mocks him in an Australian accent, saying, "Oi," and that's when things get serious. He uses his eye again, freezing Yoongjun in place. Juo combines his skills, forcing Yoongjun to watch him and Ran together. This is where the story shifts into a wild new vibe that's up to your imagination. I feel bad for Yoongjun, so we'll skip the part where Juo acts like a jackhammer. Turns out Yoongjun never stood a chance from the start. When he hears this, his spirit breaks even more. Meanwhile, Ran gets thrown to the ground like a toy, and Yoongjun looks totally hopeless. Suddenly, a notification pops up saying Juo did something bad, earning him extra stats. Energy surges through him, boosting his charm and MP too. The next day at school, Juo and Ran show up, and after yesterday's chaos, Juo's popularity has exploded. After taking down the top guy, girls are now into him, while the boys are jealous that a former nobody is stealing the show. He even unlocks a new skill called Dignity, which puts heavy pressure on anyone weaker than him. Now the guys who used to tease him can't even look at him. Meanwhile, Jungjun's gone missing, but Juo spots Naun and senses something's off, and not just because he's there. Naun starts shaking like she's seen a celebrity, so Juo walks over to her. Of course, Ran gets jealous, noticing the Demon King's checking out someone else. When he sits next to Naun, she stumbles over her words, so he uses his eye and sees her interest level jump to 31, with her difficulty dropping super low. Shocked by the high number, he starts plotting how to win her over. They chat about yesterday, and just as he hoped, a domination quest pops up. He plays it cool but slips up by saying her name before she tells it to him. He covers it by saying he's into her, which is how he knew, while Ran looks more and more annoyed. After school, he invites Naun to his place, proud he hasn't even needed his powers yet. When they get there, he takes her hand and leads her inside like a gentleman. After a quick shower, he finds Naun nervously sitting on his bed. He tells her she's the first girl to visit his house, and after some small talk, he moves in fast like a snake. No powers needed. He turns into a jackhammer again, and the rest is a blur. Later, Joe explains to Naun that he's not dating Ran, so everything's cool. He uses his powers and learns Naun likes strong guys like a gorilla. He plays that up, watching her interest skyrocket like crazy. Like in a game, he maxes out her interest bar and finishes the domination quest in no time. Right after, Juo gains more power as his stats climb higher. He smirks, thinking it was too easy, and asks if she wants a banana for some potassium. She gets excited, but he says nah, he's gotta run to the store. Naun mutters something in French, annoyed, and Juo freezes. He forgot his phone with Duolingo to translate. Lucky for him, Naun's ready to teach him some romantic French. They get into the lesson, but it gets loud, and the whole neighborhood hears them. Tired of the noise, he uses his eye to download Naun's deepest secrets into his brain. Then he takes off her glasses so she won't get a headache. He turns into a jackhammer again, unlocking a skill that messes with someone's mind after every hit. He accidentally uses it on Naun, and she goes wild, but he rolls with it. The new skill makes things even louder, and his red-headed neighbor starts getting mad. Eventually, Nami bangs her desk and gets ready to face off with our Demon King. She storms out with her fist clenched, not knowing Juo's busy sharpening his skills. Meanwhile, Juo finishes linking minds with Naun, who's super happy with his new, crazy strong ability. It's so powerful that Naun feels as free as I do when I finally hit the bathroom. Juo locks it in by handing Naun his phone to add her number, which she does without hesitation. Now she's officially in his harem and even calls him her boyfriend. They hear a noise outside, and Juo's curiosity pulls him to check it out. He opens the door and finds Nami, his neighbor, who sarcastically reminds him she lives next door. She's thrown off when she sees Juo's gotten buffer, stumbling over her words as she gets flustered by this future king. Nami starts trembling, totally confused about what's happening to her, so Juo asks if she's okay. Her body moves like she's not in control, and she can't believe the weak Juo she knew is now ripped like torn jeans. Deep down, she starts thinking he might have been her type all along. With her acting strange, Juo uses his eye to check her out closer. He sees Nami's interest has shot up from 0 to 11 in just one day. He jumps at the chance and starts chatting with her. She shyly tries to mention the loud noises from earlier, but can't get the words out in front of this top-tier guy. Suddenly, Naun peeks around the corner, shocking Nami by calling her sister. Things flip fast. A new domination quest pops up, and Nami's gone from chill to hostile in seconds. Nami steps out like she's from another planet and sharply says, "Can we talk?" Fast forward to a coffee shop, where Juo's stunned to learn his neighbor is Naun's sister. A flashback shows Nami yelling at Naun to go home, then dragging Juo along, landing him here with an angry redhead. Even though Nami's mad, a quest appears. Win her over in 1 week for a huge reward, 3 levels and 10 extra charm points. With such a big prize, Juo starts plotting, since Nami's his type anyway. He zones out dreaming, but Nami snaps him back by shouting. Another notification warns that if he fails, he'll lose his powers. In 2 seconds, Juo goes from daydreaming to freaking out, not the fun kind of edge. Helpful tips pop up, saying Nami won't gain interest while she's mad, making Juo nervous as she keeps scolding him. All he can think about is how to turn this around and finish the quest. He sips his drink nervously until he can focus, only to hear Nami demand he never see Naun again. Juo blurts out a confused why in French, leaving Nami speechless and not in a good way. She slams the table and says Naun needs to focus on studying, not distractions, since she's in a repeat school. Her rant gets so loud she accidentally helps Juo by embarrassing herself in public. Everyone nearby stares, and without Juo doing a thing, Nami's humiliation level hits 8. After her outburst, she excuses herself and heads for the door. But Juo stops her by speaking up, deciding to rile her up more. He says there's no way he'll leave Naun alone, wagging his finger with sass. Nami spins around furious, but Juo stands and uses his powers, seizing the moment. He's got 10 minutes to pull off his plan. He starts by explaining to a frozen Nami that just because he and Naun were together doesn't mean they're dating, catching her off guard. Nami mutters something back even though she can't move much, which surprises Naun. A pop-up shows up saying Nami's fighting Juo's powers a bit while she's yelling at him. Still, she can't win, so Juo leans in and asks how she wants him to fix things. He starts throwing insults at her, but they're true, and he's just keeping the vibe chill. Nami's stunned by what's happening, but Juo casually says she's his type. He goes full Demon King mode and tells her if she doesn't want him around Naun, he'll hang out with her instead. He starts checking her out like it's a yearly review, but she fights back, strong enough to weaken his powers a little. She asks if he's lost it, but Juo just plays innocent. She warns him she's training to be a lawyer and he'll regret messing with her in jail. Juo tells her to look around. Everything's frozen, and no one, not even fancy cameras, can catch what he's doing. Pineapple juice was all over this scene, but as time ran out, he finished the quest and got a small stat boost. The next day, Juo's getting stronger and jokes he's a fun guy like a mushroom. In just 3 days, his stats have shot up big time. If this was a game like Blox Fruits, he'd be close to mythical status. With his strength over 10, he's packing on more muscle. He used to mess around, but now he's thinking he might actually become a real Demon King. His thoughts get cut off by sandal footsteps outside. He guesses it's Nami. He's right. His fiery neighbor slams her door hard, and he figures she's mad, probably not over that time-freezing trick he pulled. Then, bad luck hits. Juo's out of cash. He whines to himself that he's broke, even with all his wild powers. Instead of using his abilities for good, he thinks about calling Ran for food, but decides it'd hurt his pride. Then he remembers he can stop time and rushes to a nearby store. He hesitates, knowing stealing's wrong, but somehow everything else he's done doesn't count as bad to him. He activates his powers and steps inside with 5 minutes to grab what he needs. He snags some ramen but trips over a frozen part-time worker stocking drinks. It's a K-pop idol trainee, and he gets distracted. Anyone into New Jeans? He tries to touch her without checking her interest level and gets pushed back by his own powers. Grumbling, he leaves the store, recalling a wise saying, as long as there's a chance, he's got a goal like in any good anime. He checks the time. 30 seconds left before everything unfreezes. He barely makes it out as his powers fade, relieved but annoyed. He mutters that if that idol hadn't distracted him, he could have grabbed some Kit Kat ice cream too. A notification pops up, saying Juo did something naughty again. Instead of getting punished, Juo gets a big pile of experience points and an upgrade to his main power. He's stunned. His idol Dio trained hard to freeze time for just seconds, but in a few days, Juo can stop it for over 10 minutes and pick who stays frozen. He mutters to himself that becoming a Demon King might actually happen. Later, he gets 2 alerts at once. Ran and Naun are both thinking about him, which calms him down a bit after his K-pop idol run-in got him all worked up. He's stuck choosing between them, but then decides he doesn't need either one. A second later, he grabs his phone and calls Naun, craving some clear-headedness after his banana moment. He tells her to rush to his place, saying it's the master's orders. When she arrives, Juo's munching a sandwich while Naun's eating his ice cream. Right then, Ran races up the stairs and bursts into Juo's apartment, asking what he needs. She walks into a messy scene, too wild for the editor to keep, and freezes in shock. Naun, caught in the act, can't answer without choking. So an angry Ran yells, "What are you doing, stepmaster? I mean, Naun?" With no reply, Ran's fury takes over. She puts on imaginary boxing gloves and kicks Naun hard, asking if she's lost her mind. Juo tries to calm Ran down, but she snaps at him to shut up, a big mistake. Nervous, Juo says she should listen since he's the master, but Ran, like in a cheesy romance flick, says a woman has to fight for her man. She keeps shouting at Naun until Juo's had enough and steps in. He tells Ran she's getting too full of herself, snapping her back to reality. He points out she's late and questions why she's talking so much. Ran apologizes, saying she was late because she wanted to look good for him. Juo pulls her close and says that's no excuse. He doesn't care about makeup or clothes. With smooth charm, he tells her to be like his favorite pizza. Nothing on it but pineapples. Naun, right there, asks if he means right now, annoying Juo a bit, but Ran goes along with it. Still not happy, Juo tells her to do squats so he can check out her rear guard. She does a bunch, and Juo pulls her onto his lap. After that, it's all good. Ran teases that he's mean, and he admits it was punishment for earlier. He introduces the girls and tells Ran not to fight Naun anymore. Ran agrees fast, but Juo sees she's still jealous of Naun's banana eating. He reassures her she's his first and not to worry. Then he asks Ran for a favor, which she's quick to accept. Turns out, he wants her to teach Naun some special skills. He says Ran's bike riding experience makes her perfect to teach a beginner like Naun. Ran gets mad fast and smacks him, leaving Juo confused. She says he deserved it for how he worded it, then asks what he wants her to teach. They end up doing a full lesson on how French became the language of love. Through it all, Naun picks up basic French with Ran's help. A hidden quest pops up, make both girls happy at once, and if he nails it, his power level could top 9,000, beating out Ash Ketchum. With the quest on, Juo rushes to finish as Naun hits the finish line in a flash, letting him complete it. 2 notifications pop up, giving Juo a new skill called Girls Link, along with extra stat points and more MP, like in a gacha game. Another hidden message says his incubus power leveled up, unlocking a passive ability called Weakness. As he grabs his new powers, Santa takes over his soul for a few seconds. After, he whispers a thank you in Naun's ear while still acting like a jackhammer. Mid-cosplay, his new weakness skill kicks in, showing glowing spots on bodies, weak points for total chaos. Juo goes full demon mode with these overpowered tricks, muttering that it's basically cheating. He decides to try Girls Link, letting him share Naun's feelings with someone else who has over 20 interest. Turns out, he can only link her with Kim Ran or Park Nami so far. He picks Ran instead of Nami, and the skill works perfectly. Sorry, you'll have to skip a whole spicy chapter. The girls feel like they just won their first Fortnite game. Meanwhile, Nami's in her room, studying and getting mad at Juo, wondering if he can really control time. She thinks about reporting him to Riot Games, but knows people would call her nuts. Remember how Juo didn't link Nami with her sister? Well, the sneaky Demon King does it the next day. Nami jolts awake, thinking everything was a dream, but Girls Link makes it hard for her to move, thanks to Juo's power. She freaks out when she sees it's past noon and she hasn't studied, muttering that she's toast. Her door creaks open, scaring her like a Roblox door's jump scare. Instead of getting ready to fight, Nami just asks who's there. Lucky for her, it's her sister Naun calling out. But when she gets closer, Nami's nightmare comes true. Juo's there too. She feels ashamed seeing him, and he casually asks to come in, making Nami yell at him to leave or she'll call the cops for breaking in. Naun steps in, telling her to chill, but Nami snaps, using her full name. Things are getting serious. Nami throws insults at Juo, but Naun just grins creepily and says, Juo's her master now. Nami's stunned and demands to know what's up. Naun says she's introducing her master to her sister, and that Nami will get it once she joins the fun. This is when you'd expect dramatic music. Nami's worst fear is unfolding. Naun tells her sister she's sure Nami will love what's coming, leaving Nami convinced her sister's too far gone. Meanwhile, Juo claps for Naun, praising her for explaining it so well. He activates his eye, saying they're here to play. Not like Warzone, though. Nami feels chills like she's in a scary movie, but shakes it off and warns Juo not to come closer or she'll get serious. Juo tells her to relax, but like in every twisty anime, he grabs Naun instead. Turns out they're not here for Nami, they're just showing off their new relationship with Sass. Juo tells Naun to cosplay a beach girl and take it even further. Naun agrees instantly, no hesitation, even with Nami right there, frozen like a stubborn stain after Taco Bell. Juo's thrilled with Naun's wild obedience. It leaves him speechless. He pulls Naun closer, and they act like two wacky peas in a pod. Nami starts trembling at the scene in front of her, powerless except to yell at Juo to stop. Her shouts don't faze Juo or Naun, as Juo's demon powers completely pull Naun in, making her even happier than before. Things heat up fast, going from calm to wild in no time. Nami's so shocked she can't even speak anymore, giving Juo the perfect chance to turn up the drama. He coldly blames Nami for how Naun's acting now. Then Naun pipes up, asking if Nami joined their sussy gang. Would she outrank her? Juo says yeah, Nami would be number 3, while Naun's number 2 on the list. With that settled, Naun aims to climb to the top like she's scaling a mountain. Juo teases Nami, asking if she had fun yesterday, making her realize he was behind it all. If you forgot how spicy this story gets, Juo's quick to remind us by using his linked powers. In seconds, Nami's hit hard, like a ship sinking from a burst pipe. But Juo doesn't stop. He turns into an iceberg, finishing her off like in Titanic. Long story short, they mess up her bed and study space in all sorts of ways. Naun goes wild, heading to Alabama mode, and it turns out she's had an inferiority complex this whole time. Nami's left wrecked with no one around to help. Then, Protein Man Juo shows up with milk buckets, using his weak point skill like a pro. In the end, Juo finishes a hidden quest, earning 5 random bonus stats and fully dominating his target. He levels up from the chaos, boosting his charm by 10 and unlocking a secret new skill we don't get to know yet. The next morning, Juo wakes up saying he slept great after chugging milk, but he admits that even with more strength, he's still dodging leg day. A notification congratulates him for hitting level 10, and another says his title's changing as a reward. Confused by what the system means, he checks his info page, but his title looks the same. Still scratching his head, he shrugs it off and focuses on being level 11. He dumps some bonus points into strength, aiming for level 20 to fix his skinny legs. When he does, a new alert says he's got superhuman strength and telekinesis for hitting 20. Juo's thrown off. How'd he get telekinesis from strength instead of MP? Pumped with power, he shows off his beefier calves and quads, ready to test his new tricks. He stands up, hears a loud crunch, louder than me munching Doritos, and looks down to see he accidentally smashed the floor with his new strength. A pop-up tells Juo he's triggered a skill, and the system reveals all his physical stats have passed level 10, beyond human limits. This freaks Juo out. He just stood up and wrecked the floor, and now he's worried about fixing it before the landlord sees. Another annoying pop-up says he won't control his strength until his stats adjust to everyday life. Juo mumbles that he's living his manga dream of being super strong, but it's the kind you'd watch on YouTube to hide from your family. He unlocks a new skill, Devil Effect, and earns the title Official Heir, which sounds sneaky, so he checks its description. It says the skill makes him cooler and braver, so he decides to test it. He tiptoes to a mirror to avoid smashing more floor, activates it, and his hair turns pink with a colorful glow around him. Thrilled with his Goku-like look, he wants to show off, but then switches it off thinking the girls already find him cool since he's a charm master. A sudden rush downstairs creates a new issue he needs to fix fast. He rushes out, bangs on a door like he's desperate for the bathroom, and Nami opens it, yelling at him to leave or show her pormagum. Confused by her attitude, he thought he'd won her over. He checks his domination log and sees she's fully dominated. He bangs again, threatening to break the door, and it works. Nami asks why he's there so early. Juo says he's there to fuse their pods romantically, but Nami snaps back, not impressed. Puzzled why she's not like the other girls, he uses his eye and sees her interest is low and difficulty high, since they were enemies before. Scratching his head for a fix, he activates his new skill, turning into a Goku wannabe. Nami's spooked by his otherworldly vibe, and he orders her to crawl to him. And it actually works. Just like that, Juo proves cosplaying Goku can win over anyone. It works. She floats up, her clothes somehow vanishing like they're invisible. Juo turns into a jackhammer again, this time mid-air for a few seconds. Nami ends up blissed out on the bed, but Juo says they've still got the big finish. Afterward, he tells her to always open the door when he knocks, and she agrees. Then he asks if she's got cash, startling her with the sudden topic shift. He says he's hungry and wants her to take him out to eat. Lucky for him, Nami's loaded, so he ditches her without bringing her along. Her soul's crushed. She wanted Korean fried chicken too. Fast forward to a coffee shop, where Juwo's celebrating with cash from his shopping spree. Juwo swings by the grocery store where he saw the K-pop trainee, thinking it's time to boost her interest. He opens the door fast, but instead of her, he's greeted by a guy who looks like he'd sing Gangnam Style for a living. With no trainee in sight, Juwo bails and pretends it never happened. He's mad at himself. Turns out the guy was such a good salesman that Juwo ended up buying stuff he didn't want. Super let down, his big excitement fizzles out, and he gets distracted walking home. While zoned out, he bumps into a huge, tough-looking dude who could squash him. Juwo starts to apologize, then remembers his powers, but before he can use them, the guy says, "Sorry first." Turns out his dignity skill kicked in, so Juwo doesn't get to test his newer tricks. Disappointed again, he turns off dignity and heads home. On the way, he hears a ruckus from an alley and checks it out. He finds a boy crying and bowing to some people. It's a shakedown, and the kid's getting bullied. It hits Juwo hard, reminding him of his old, powerless self before he became the Demon King. He steps in to help and gets mocked by two girls while a guy tells him to scram. Juwo doesn't waste time. He starts throwing fast, hard punches. With crazy strength, he sends one thug crashing into a wall. Seeing this, one of the girls starts rethinking her choices. Juwo's outnumbered but not outdone, so he keeps going, fists ready, asking if they're not scared after he just launched their buddy like a cartoon. The main bully finally turns from the kid to Juwo, asking who he is. Juwo switches his face to look like Rock Lee and says they're messing with his little brother. The bully's face drops like he just remembered a surprise test. He knows he's in deep now, regretting his moves. Juwo swaps his calm look for big, strong hands and slams the guy into the ground like it's quicksand. His eye shows the guy's name is Go Hyok, level 4 with weak stats. Juwo's annoyed to see this high schooler's already popped a cherry when he didn't until way later. Juwo trashes him with insults, then smashes his face into the ground. The guy's still awake, so Juwo tells him to stand or he doesn't care about living. Go Hyok starts begging, and Juwo turns to the others, telling them to beat it. He warns that if they mess with his brother again, they'll face the Demon King's wrath. His words fly right past them. They're too shocked to listen. Juwo gets ready to wreck the rest since they won't budge or talk. Lucky for them, one guy snaps out of it but can only mumble, "It wasn't us." Juwo's eyebrows shoot up as the boys take off running before he can pound them. Suddenly, a phone blaring at full volume starts recording, and one of the girls threatens Juwo, saying she's got him on video fighting high schoolers. She nervously asks if he wants to wreck his life since he's already graduated. It doesn't bother our cool guy. He activates his signature skill, freezing the girls in place while they're still aware of what's coming. He waves his hand like a wizard, no wand needed, wishing someone would call him magical. With a whistle, he makes her phone explode in a flash. Then he kicks on his devil effect skill, glowing green and purple like a superhero, calling out to Trunks. The girls, stuck but awake, start asking what he even is. In a split second, Juwo gets in her face and asks if she wants to get wrecked for being braver than the guys. She switches gears fast, crying and mumbling apologies. Juwo's caught off guard and feels bad as she breaks down from just one threat. A notification pops up. Kang-ji, he's interested in him, hits 100, freaking him out a bit. He glances left and sees another alert. Yunming-young's interest is also at 100. Juwo's baffled why these girls are into him now, then figures they're into tough bad boy types who can fight or play rough. Nervously, he wonders why they'd fall for him with danger so close. He pulls them shoulder to shoulder and tells them to come back next year since they're still students. Turns out Juwo's got some standards now. He leaves them behind, waving as he walks off into the sunset, telling the bullied kid Gungan to follow him home. They walk in silence, and Juwo can't believe he just turned down 2 girls. A new notification hits, saying he lost 3 stat points for doing good deeds, bumming him out. Right then, Gungan taps his shoulder at the worst time, and an annoyed Juwo spins around, demon vibes on full blast. Still, Gungan bows and thanks him, unfazed. Juwo brushes it off, saying it's no big deal, and tells him to avoid getting beat up next time. Gungan doesn't leave, though. He invites Juwo over for free food as a thank you for saving him. Food's all it takes to hook Juwo, so they head to Gungan's place. When they get there, The smell and sight of tasty food welcome Juo like a hug. But it's not just soup on the menu. Gungwon's mom greets him too, and Juo's face twists like he's holding something in. Could be a spicy chapter ahead. She tells him to eat up, and Juo checks her info. Somehow this restaurant lady already has 40 interest in him. She says to enjoy, but Juo's mind is elsewhere. He takes a bite, but his expression shows he's torn. Not the MSG making him drool, but his wild thoughts. Gungwon snaps him out of it, asking if the food's good. Juo comes back to reality, praising the meal, though he's still distracted by something else. Gungwon's mom thanks Juo for liking the food and says he doesn't have to be shy if he doesn't. Juo jumps in, insisting he's not just being nice, the food's genuinely good. Then, bam, a domination quest pops up, promising tons of experience points depending on how far he gets. For the first time, Juo's freaked out by a quest, feeling low since it involves a married woman. A follow-up notification warns that failing means losing 5 levels and his whole dominated list, making Juo jump up in shock. Gungwon asks if he's okay, worried by his reaction, but Juo brushes it off, saying he got a surprise text. Gungwon's not buying it. He points out Juo doesn't even have his phone. He leans in, asking again if Juo's all right, starting to suspect something's up. Gungwon flat out asks if Juo's a superhuman, confusing his mom, who wonders what they're talking about. Juo tries to laugh it off, but Gungwon's piecing it together. Juo never got his name, and he fought off those bullies like a champ. Lucky for Juo, Gungwon's mom cuts in, joking that her son's been playing too many games like Roblox Fruits. Gungwon insists it's real, saying he saw it himself, while Juo sits nervously watching it all go down. Mom tries to save Gungwon from looking silly, calling him a troll. Gungwon begs Juo to back him up, but Juo just plays along. Finally, Juo cracks and asks why Gungwon cares so much if he's superhuman. Gungwon says fate brought Juo here to teach him powers, frustrating Juo even more. Juo asks what Gungwon would even do with powers, but Mom interrupts, telling him to drop the nonsense. Gungwon apologizes for sounding dumb and slinks off, bummed out. Now it's just Juo and Gungwon's mom, who admits she knows Gungwon's been bullied for ages. She says he's a good kid, just too into games and anime, and she's tried to change him but never could. Juo seizes the moment, promising he'll help Gungwon turn things around, and she thanks him happily. Then Juo asks for a favor back. Can he fill her fridge with his milk just once? Mom's thrown off by the weird request, but gives him a second shot, brushing it off. Juo doubles down, saying he's the protein man and wants to explode her, begging for a quiet spot to talk. They move to another part of the restaurant, and I spot a drink for you sign, realizing we're deep in spicy territory. Juo knows thinking with his banana has landed him in another sketchy moment. He corners Mom, who stammers facing the young demon king. In this big showdown, he admits he's a weird guy, but it comes out wrong and scares her off. Stuck, Juo tries to fix his bad move, thinking with his head instead of his pineapple. He blurts out that he's superhuman, and Mom replies in French, surprising him. Juo flips on devil effect, glowing dark and powerful, making her waver. He's not done. Showing off telekinesis seals the deal, and she drops to her knees, convinced it's no joke. Juo dials up his charm, turning off the effect and saying he's really superhuman. Mom's jaw drops, realizing Gungwon wasn't making it up after all. Juo's plan works, so he kneels in front of Gungwon's mom and says he usually hides his powers, but today was special. He had to save Gungwon. He smoothly adds that using his powers too much causes a problem under his clothes. She doesn't get it, so he makes up a story. He'll die if he doesn't fill someone with milk and time as the protein man. Seeing her shocked face, he doubles down like he's pitching a deal from KFC. He claims he overused his powers saving Gungwon and is in deep trouble now. Gungwon's mom, being nice, thinks he's in real danger. To seal the deal, Juo begs harder than I do for that last kill in a game. She starts seriously considering his side, since he did save her son, but then snaps out of it and apologizes without explaining why. Finally, she says she's married, old, and there's a big age gap. Juo starts fake crying, pretending it's all about her twin pyramids that caught his eye. Then she flips the script, eyeing him like I do chocolate, and suggests helping with her hands, like shaping dough. Juo shuts that down like a Roblox tycoon pro, saying it's not enough for a superhuman like him. He raises the stakes, asking her to use her face hole instead, claiming it'll save him today. She trembles at the wild idea. Juo vanishes for a sec, waiting for her answer, but she spots his armor on the floor. He's just moving super fast. A voice says he's ready, and as she turns, the editor bolts to the bathroom. This is peak spicy anime territory. We're stunned. Juo saved a kid and ended up as his milkman stepdad. That night, Gungwon's mom tries to sleep but can't, replaying the day. She tells herself at least it was thick and sticky, like my sick day snot. Her thoughts spiral to what could have been, and she flops over in a weird spot, alone. Next morning, Juo wakes up thinking how close he was to nailing his goal with Super Lady. He checks her stats, bummed that her domination level barely budged. Like in a game, he feels driven to finish it. Juo heads back to school after a while. There, Ran's jealous since he hasn't called her lately. She bumps into Naun and grills her, asking if they've been busy without her. Naun says she hasn't heard from Master either. They figure Juo's tied up with Nami instead. Nami, fueled by the idea of solo-leveling Juo, starts tapping into her own dark vibe, just as Juo rolls up with a serious look, his presence alone shifting the mood. The girls catch Juo's vibe fast, but when they try to say hi to the former loser-turned-cool guy, he brushes them off, saying he's busy today. Turns out he's fibbing right to Jungjun, who actually showed up at school. Juo zooms over to him, and with Jungjun still shaken from their last beatdown, Juo lands one kick, dropping him again. Jungjun shakes, apologizes fast, and swears he's done liking Ran. Surprisingly, Juo doesn't crush him, and just asks if he's the old leader of Bukyun High. Jungjun nods, scared, and Juo warns him to keep his crew in line or face the Demon King's full fury. With that, Juo strolls off, cheerfully telling Jungjun to make sure no one bugs Gungwon again. As he tries to leave school, Naun and Ran catch up, asking why he's dipping out so early. Juo spins around and says eating pizza and chicken every day gets old. He's craving rice and soup. Naun babbles, and both she and Ran miss his point completely. Back at the restaurant, Gungwon's mom is all mixed up thinking about Juo, and, speak of the devil, he shows up right on cue. She's shocked he's there on a school day and asks why, but Juo ignores her, asking if Gungwon's home yet. Like a flash, they vanish into a closet, where Juo gets a lesson from this seasoned pro. She's old like Gandalf. It gets so wild she can't breathe, just like our editor watching these scenes. Long story short, she's different from the other girls Juo's met, aging like fine wine. He rocks her world without even using powers, and she returns the favor, officially making the milkman part of the Titan family tree. They hear a knock. Gungwon's home and asks if his mom's resting in her room. She's caught off guard, but Juo pushes it further, seeing his chance. He goes all out, like an Elden Ring speedrunner dodging every hit, turning her soft voice into a beastly roar. Juo keeps hammering away while Gungwon bangs on the door harder, looking ready to go colossal Titan mode. Gungwon twists the knob, yelling for his mom, but she saves it, shouting she's just changing. That stops him. He's not nosy like some people, and he backs off. He heads downstairs, telling her to take her time and not worry about him. Sweet guy that he is, he yells he's off to open the restaurant for them. Juo keeps going full force, even though he's already broken through. He bumps her domination level to 40%, but a notification says her interest dropped 10 points because of his shady moves. Meanwhile, Gungwon's at work, thankful for his mom's hard work, clueless that a sneaky Demon King's taken a shine to her. After messing around with Gungwon's mom, she acts like nothing happened and asks how Gungwon's doing at school. Right then, Gungwon mentions Juo, and her body tenses up, like me when I drink regular milk instead of lactose-free. She makes a quick excuse about feeling sick and bolts to her room. Lying in bed, her mind races about the wild secret she's keeping from her son. Suddenly, spicy thoughts hit her, and just hearing the Demon King's name flips her switch. Meanwhile, Juo's playing mobile games but keeps losing, so he grumbles that games are for losers. He shifts his focus to yesterday's conquest with Gungwon's mom, but that backfires. His peaches and bananas perk up again. He tries to hold some standards, thinking it's too late to bother her, but then remembers his crazy powers. He jumps out of bed, thrilled, and activates soul connecting to link up with the hot Jumwon. A pop-up stops him cold, saying he can't connect right now, and he's furious. Digging into it, he finds out her domination level needs to be over 70 for it to work. Checking his list, he sees she's stuck at 69 and he sulks, realizing he's finally lost at something. Stubborn as ever, he considers messing with other girls for relief instead. But then, like a miracle, his list pops up. Her dominations hit 70 and the blue dot next to her name glows. With his own blue balls in play, Juo seizes the chance, uses his eye, and confirms he wants to teleport to her. In a flash, he's back at the restaurant, turning invisible like a superhero. He spots Jumwon thinking about him while doing some shady stuff, and he's instantly pleased. Like a ghost, he whispers to her, freaking her out since he's invisible. She blurts out that she doesn't like student Ouyang, but he fires back, threatening to never visit and fulfill her real wants. She begs the ghost for advice, so Juo orders her to do the same wild stuff Ran did way back in episode 1. Juo gets too hyped watching her play games alone and turns into a Pokemon Lickitung, then a full-on jackhammer going all out. He maxes out her domination level and finishes his first B-rank quest. Notifications flood in. He's earned a new skill. Monster King's Knight, stuck at level 1 for beating a ranked challenge. The next day at a coffee shop, Juo's curious about this new skill and checks its details. Turns out, Monster King's Knight lets him share some of his powers and stats with someone he picks, but only for a little while. When Ouyang figures out what his new skill really does, he feels totally let down. He doesn't know he could use it to make someone as strong as him. Instead, he just keeps sighing, wondering why the system didn't give him more skills or a level up. Suddenly, the door flies open, and Armen, who has Titan powers, walks in to meet him. Ouyang quickly tells Armen to sit down, and Armen agrees fast. It turns out Ouyang wants to test his new skill on Armen, pretending to teach him superpowers. But since Ouyang is broke from Matt using time-stop powers elsewhere, he asks Armen to grab them some coffee first. After getting his coffee, Ouyang shares his plan to teach Armen superpowers, something Armen had been begging for days. Armen is shocked, thinking he can finally live as a powerful blocks fruit user. He gets loud, refusing to believe he's about to awaken a donut power. Ouyang shuts him down quick, warning him to be quiet, or everyone will figure out who he really is. Once Armen calms down, Ouyang explains 2 big rules for gaining superpowers. First, Armen's goals have to match what Ouyang wants. Second, he has to be naturally good at using them. With the rules clear, Ouyang stands up and asks why Armen even wants superpowers. Armen says he needs power to protect his mom and sister. Ouyang gets curious when Armen mentions his sister. Things get weird when Armen starts talking about how hot his mom and sister are. Ouyang, now interested, asks more about his sister. Armen reveals she's Choy Nana, a K-pop idol trainee from a big company. Ouyang suddenly remembers that name. Choy Nana is the part-time worker he's been chasing all along. He starts talking to his inner demons, stunned by this news. Armen keeps going with his sad story, saying his family gets picked on by other guys because he's too weak to stop them. Ouyang gets mad, especially when he hears someone messed with Nana, but Armen doesn't give a name. Armen adds that kids at school bullied him for being Nana's brother, even editing her pictures to make her clothes vanish. Ouyang, now furious, stops Armen from talking more. Demon energy starts leaking out of him as he tells Armen to forget everything he just said. He calls Armen a loser and asks what superpower he wants, bragging that he can give him anything. Armen, amazed, asks if Ouyang can stop time. Right then, the world freezes around them. People's faces even start to fade. Armen turns to Ouyang like a champ, and Ouyang smirks, saying, "Does that answer your question?" But when Armen asks if he's a god, Ouyang bonks him on the head for the dumb question. Getting annoyed, Ouyang tells Armen to pick a power fast or he won't teach him anything. Since Armen's taking too long, Ouyang decides to choose for him. He uses his special eye to check Armen's skills and sees they're worse than his own were long ago. Nervous but determined, Ouyang activates Monster King's Knight, sending a red flash of power into Armen. A pop-up congratulates Ouyang for making Armen his first knight, lasting a week. Another notification says Ouyang unlocked a new skill, Ravaging Hands, at level 1. Looking closer, he sees Armen gain some strength and a new power, telekinesis. Ouyang tells Armen he shared some strength with him, but it'll only last a week. They start practicing Armen's telekinesis on a cup. Armen focuses hard, stretches his hands, and moves the cup with his mind. But after one try, he collapses from low stamina. He recovers just as Uyang's about to leave, then asks if getting stronger will make him popular with girls. Uyang perks up at the sudden topic shift. He starts thinking Armen might actually be a prodigy in the making. Choy swayed a bit and said he felt dizzy. Young told him it was normal for a beginner. He advised Choy to practice with small things and build up his stamina. Choy nodded and thanked him. Then he shyly asked if having a superpower would make him popular with girls. Young laughed and said he knew Choy was pretending not to care. Choy admitted the girls at school talked about Young a lot. Young smirked and said his rough attitude was why they liked him. Choy didn't get it and asked what he meant. Young decided to prove it and called a girl named Nami. He told her to come to the cafe right away. She showed up fast, dressed up nice, and asked why he called her. Young teased her about looking good for him. Nami got flustered and denied it. Young turned to Choy and said this was proof girls liked him even when he was mean. Nami snapped at Young for talking nonsense. He ignored her and made a crude comment about her looks. Then he smacked her on the backside, surprising Choy. Nami yelled at him for doing that in front of Choy. Young just laughed and told her to sit down. He reminded her of something he'd ordered her to do when he called. He demanded she prove she'd obeyed him right there. Nami hesitated because of the crowd. Young didn't care and told her to do it anyway, leaving Choy stunned. Young grinned slyly and kept teasing Nami in front of Choy. He checked something and asked if she'd been obedient. Nami muttered that he just wanted to see for himself. Young pushed his teasing further until Nami's face turned bright red. Choy noticed and asked if she was okay. She brushed it off and said she remembered something from home. Young smirked and realized he hadn't introduced them. He told Choy this was his girlfriend, Park Nami, and told Nami that Choy was someone he knew. He bragged that Nami was older and studying law at Korea University. Choy nodded and said Nami was as pretty as his sister. Young laughed and said he was surrounded by beauties, so he wasn't sure. He boasted about how lucky he was to have such a great girlfriend. Choy felt a strange, anxious twist in his stomach. He excused himself to the bathroom. He wondered if he was nervous or just needed to pee. Young waved him off and said to go ahead. Choy apologized and hurried away. As soon as he was gone, Young stopped time with his stopwatch ability. Young let out a relieved laugh and said he couldn't hold back anymore. He told Nami to come closer and do something very private. He teased her for acting surprised when she knew it was coming. Nami protested that it was sudden and they were in public. Young reminded her she'd worn something revealing like he asked. He called it a reward for listening to him. Nami grumbled that it wasn't a reward. She said he was just doing it for himself. Young ignored her complaints and went ahead with his so-called reward. Choy lay in bed unable to sleep. He kept thinking about the strange noises he heard at the cafe. He wondered if Young and Nami really did something wild there. Nami didn't seem innocent to him anymore. The idea of her and Young doing bold things in a crowded cafe stuck in his head. He told himself it was just his imagination running wild. Those noises happened when he couldn't move his body. Ever since then, weird thoughts wouldn't leave him alone. He tried to shake it off since Young and Nami were adults, and it wasn't his business. He remembered seeing a game-like panel flash before his eyes. It vanished when he could move again. He figured it had to do with Young's powers, but decided to stop overthinking it. Young had told him to train his stamina for powers. Choy chose to focus on that instead of weird ideas. He planned to exercise until he was tired enough to sleep. The next morning, Choy got ready for school. He told his mom, Jungwoon, he was leaving. She smiled and told him to be safe. At school, Choy felt surprisingly good despite no sleep. A bully named Hyukjin bumped into him by accident. Choy apologized, but Hyukjin cursed and threatened him. Hyukjin raised a fist but stopped and told Choy to go. He grumbled that seeing Choy made him mad. In class, the teacher reminded everyone to study hard for the upcoming CSAT. Choy thought Hyukjin let him off easy. He guessed it was because Hyukjin feared Young. He daydreamed about being a strong guy like Young. He glanced at two girls laughing nearby. One was Min Young, who seemed happy today. Choy wanted to get closer to her and remembered Young saying girls liked rough bad guys. Meanwhile, Jungwoon sat at home feeling restless. She hadn't slept either, thinking about Young all night. He hadn't visited yesterday, and she wondered if he was better now. If he was fine, he might not come see her anymore. She felt silly for buying new clothes just in case. Suddenly, Young burst through the door demanding soup. Young-woon quickly served him a bowl. He ate fast and looked upset. She wondered if he was okay but stayed quiet. Young swallowed a spoonful and stared at her. He asked if she did something to him. Young-woon blinked in confusion and asked what he meant. He told her to come closer. He said Choy had told him something troubling. Young-woon said she had no idea what he was talking about. Young explained he heard customers treated her badly. Some even bothered her in a personal way. Young-woon said it was a misunderstanding and just drunk people joking. Young scoffed at the word joke. He reached out and smacked her on the back. Young-woon yelped and asked what he was doing. He demanded to know if anyone else touched her like that. She shook her head and said it wasn't serious. Young's voice got hard as he said only he could do that. He told her she belonged to him. He said she needed discipline for letting it happen. Young-woon asked what she did wrong, looking lost. Young ordered her to stand there without clothes until he finished eating. He warned her to obey or face worse punishment. He started counting to 3, and she did as he said. Young had spent a long time punishing Young-woon harshly. He left her shaken and worn out. Later that day, things moved to the school classroom. The teacher stood up front teaching a math lesson. He wrote on the board and asked if the students could solve it. The class listened as he worked through the steps. It was all about finding the minimum value for a tricky equation. After class, Ran stomped around outside feeling angry. Young hadn't shown up again. She vented to her friend Na-young who stood nearby. Na-young told Ran to relax a bit. Ran snapped back and said she couldn't calm down. She complained Young hadn't talked to them in days or come to cram school. Na-young said the CSATs were close and she was worried too. Ran yelled that exams weren't the issue. She called Young's behavior suspicious and strange. Na-young asked what she meant by suspicious. Ran said Young hadn't bothered them in a while. She guessed he might have a new girl besides them. Na-young shook her head and said that couldn't be true. She pointed out Young already had Ran, her, and her sister. Ran called her dumb and said that wasn't enough for him. Ran decided she was done waiting. She planned to march to Young's house and set him straight. Na-young warned her Young told them to wait for his call. Ran didn't listen and said Na-young should stay obedient. She claimed as the main girl she could do what she wanted. Then she stormed off to find Young. Ran reached Young's house and stood at the door. She'd acted tough but now felt nervous. She wished she'd brought Na-young along after all. She muttered to herself about Young getting mad. Her hands shook as she stood there. She wondered if she'd made a mistake coming alone. Meanwhile, Young was inside his room working out. A glowing status window flashed in front of him. It gave him a random stat bonus out of the blue. He grinned and said he hadn't gotten boosts lately. His daily quests weren't paying off anymore. He felt lucky to get something now. Young thought about saving the points for Choy. He wondered if he should use them himself instead. He decided to bump up a stat manually. The window lit up again with a message. It said his agility and stamina passed 20. He earned 2 new skills called High Speed and Persistent Stamina, but then it said, Ability Lock sealed both skills. Young frowned and said he couldn't feel them. He grumbled that he couldn't even test them out. The window flashed once more with big news. All his stats had gone past 20. That unlocked 2 hidden skills, Milk Bust and Delicate. Young laughed and said those sounded fun. He wondered if Milk Bust meant something wild like an explosion. He thought about using it to mess with someone. Suddenly, Ran kicked his door hard and yelled his name. She shouted that she knew he was inside. She demanded he open up quick before she got madder. Young swung the door open and stared at her. He asked what she wanted. He reminded her he'd told her to wait for his call. Ran hesitated and said she had something important. Young pressed her to spit it out. She fumbled and said it was really urgent but forgot what. Ran panicked inside and thought she was in trouble. Young sighed and told her not to waste his time. He said to leave if she had nothing to say. Ran blurted out that she remembered why she came. She made up a story about him forgetting how to order food. Then she admitted she just missed him a lot. Young smirked and called her a doggy. He said if she missed him, she should act better. He told her to try again but be polite this time. Ran blinked and asked what he meant by polite. Then she dropped to her knees and acted like a dog. She begged him to forgive her for missing him so much. She hoped he'd soften up and let her stay. Young stared at Ran, his eyes narrowing. He said he didn't like her attitude and pointed out she even wore something under her clothes. Ran stammered, apologizing fast, saying she forgot to skip it because she rushed over. She offered to fix it right then. Young sighed, calling her a wild tomboy with no discipline. He told her to come inside, promising to teach her a lesson today. Later in his room, Young was punishing Ran hard. He teased that he couldn't tell if it was punishment or a reward since she seemed to enjoy it. Ran begged forgiveness, swearing she'd drop the arrogance. Young paused, asking if she really came just because she missed him. He laughed, saying the Ran he knew wouldn't chase a guy like that. He called her cheap and boring for acting so soft now. Ran's face flushed as she snapped back. She bragged about how popular she was with other guys, then admitted she came because she liked him. She said she threw away her pride for her master. Young blinked, caught off guard by her words. He thought to himself, "What's with this sudden confession?" Just then, a glowing status window popped up in front of him. The window announced a new quest called Slave One's Resentment. It said Kim Ran was special, the only girl who liked him before his powers woke up. She loved him for real now, but was mad he didn't see it. The quest told him to satisfy her fully, both body and mind, to fix her resentment. It warned her sensitivity was way down because of the quest. Success meant awakening her as his top slave, failure meant losing stats and her loyalty. Young's mind raced, wondering why a quest hit him now. He thought he might have messed up and panicked about losing Ran. He remembered she barely cared about him at first, so her liking him now felt unreal. He turned to Ran, telling her to stop joking. He said she must be confused or mad because of his teasing. Ran's eyes watered as she called him a meanie, spilling her heart. She said he promised her riches and love if she obeyed. She accused him of tricking her, then scolding her for showing up. She sobbed that he teased her for being cheap after all that. Young waved his hands, asking why she was crying now. He said he never seduced her or made those promises. He thought the story got twisted somewhere along the way. Ran kept crying, saying she didn't know anymore. She hiccuped that she really liked him, tears streaming down. Young groaned, telling her he got it and to stop crying. He promised not to scold her for coming over anymore. He said he'd quit calling her cheap if she'd just calm down. Ran sniffled, asking if he meant it, then demanded a hug. Young sighed, saying she wasn't a kid. He pulled her into a stiff hug anyway. He asked if she was happy now and feeling better. Ran mumbled that he was a dummy, complaining the hug felt off. Young smirked, saying she was still acting up after getting in trouble. He called her a little cute, letting it slide just this once. He tossed her onto the bed with a quick move. Ran yelped, asking what he was going to do. Her voice shook, unsure of his next step. Young loomed over her, saying her master would give her special treatment today. He promised she'd never say he mistreated her again. Young had finished punishing Ran, pushing her hard for a long time. A glowing status window flashed in front of him, catching his eye. It announced he'd completed the sudden quest. The message said Slave Number 1, Kim Ran, had awakened. It added that Ran was now using a skill called Awakened Skill, a devoted finish, without even knowing it. Young blinked, surprised by the update. Ran shifted, her energy changing fast. She took charge, moving with a new boldness. Young watched, caught off guard, as she flipped the situation around. Later, Choy, Young, Ran, and Naun sat together at a busy restaurant. Choy, feeling bold, used telekinesis to pull a cup into his hand without touching it. Naun gasped, calling it amazing. Choy laughed, saying he was nervous to try it in front of them, but glad it worked. He added it was nothing compared to Young's skills. Naun insisted it was still cool. Ran shrugged, saying it wasn't a big deal, her tone flat. Young thought to himself, annoyed, wondering why he was stuck playing nice with Choy when it was all Ran's fault. His mind drifted back to earlier at his house. She had whined about something weird happening to her body, water coming out even though she wasn't married. Young brushed it off, telling her to wait it out. Ran demanded he marry her and take responsibility. Young snapped, calling her an idiot, saying it didn't make sense, especially since he hadn't done anything to cause it. He used a power to stop it, fixing her problem fast. Ran blinked, relieved it stopped. Young asked if she remembered what happened after her first visit, then waved it off, too tired to care. He told her she'd seen enough of him and to go home. Ran pouted, refusing to leave, wanting to stay longer. Young sighed, saying she was pushing it again. He asked what she thought she was doing. Ran smirked, calling it his punishment for always bossing her around. She said he didn't realize how lucky he was to have her. A status window popped up, saying Ran's awakening made her ego stronger, free from his control. She demanded he be nicer, asking where he'd been the past few days. She wondered if he'd gotten a new slave behind their backs. Young laughed, asking what she'd do if he had. Ran said she was just curious, pressing him for an answer. Young denied it, brushing her off. Back at the restaurant, Choy turned to Young, asking what he thought of his progress. Young nodded, saying Choy had gotten a bit better. Choy beamed, explaining he'd been training hard like Young told him. He felt lighter, stronger lately. Young studied him, thinking his stats and magic power had gone up a little. He decided Choy didn't need his borrowed strength anymore. He'd take it back, but let him keep the telekinesis for now. Young pulled the power back, asking if Choy was okay. Choy frowned, feeling weaker all of a sudden. Young told him not to worry, he was just reclaiming what he'd lent. He encouraged Choy to rely on his own strength from now on. Choy nodded, accepting it. Na-young smiled, surprised Young had been secretly training someone. She asked how they met. Choy grinned, saying Young saved him from bullies and taught him a superpower. Na-young called Young amazing, glad he was fine after all. She glanced at Ran, saying they'd been worried something happened. Young smirked, telling them to stop being suspicious and show up when he called. He pointed at Ran, singling her out. His status window flashed again, confirming he'd passed telekinesis back to Choy. It said the skill leveled up from shared use, and his Ravaging Hands skill spawned a new one, Ravaging Eyes. Young thought Choy must have practiced a lot to boost it. He mused that Ravaging Hands wasn't great since it was tricky to use. He wondered if it tied to his night system, since it kept popping up. The waiter interrupted, asking who ordered the King Burger meal. The waiter turned to Young, flustered, admitting he forgot who asked for it. Na-young said it wasn't them. Another table called out, claiming the order. The waiter hurried off, apologizing. Young watched her go, thinking she was cute when embarrassed. He noticed her interest spike just from a glance at him. He debated using a power he couldn't tap often. Deciding to test it, he activated an invisible hand. It started teasing the waiter, messing with her as she moved. The waiter, Yunji, set the meal on Young's table with a shaky hand. She told them to enjoy it, her voice unsteady. Young thanked her, smirking slightly. Yunji thought to herself, feeling something strange brushing her sensitive spots. Young watched her, thinking she was tougher than he expected for holding it together. He decided to test his new skill, Ravaging Eyes, on her. He grinned inside, realizing the skill made her clothes look see-through to him alone. Her body looked good, and her flustered face was cute. He thought he'd push his new part-timer to see how long she'd last. Young activated another skill, Delicate Touch, layering it on. Yunji stumbled, then collapsed to the floor, overwhelmed by sudden pleasure. She panicked internally, her body heating up in front of everyone. Young kept teasing her with his powers, enjoying it. Choy leaned over, asking Yunji if she was okay. She forced a smile, telling him not to worry, though her mind screamed something had slipped inside her. She felt exposed, like she was being messed with in a bad way. Ran caught on, her eyes narrowing at Young. His status window flashed, saying Ran's unconscious skill, Deceptive Hunch, had kicked in. Young turned to Ran, asking what she was up to. Ran snapped, calling him a pervert and pointing out the crowd. She said he'd gone too far this time. Young played dumb, asking what he'd done to set her off. Ran said she didn't know exactly, but he was guilty of something. She reminded him he promised to talk to her before adding new slaves. Choy watched, confused, wondering why Ran was acting so weird. Ran glared at Yunji, telling her to get up and clean the mess. She used her own skill, Queen's Vigor, making her voice sharp and commanding. Yunji froze, scared by Ran's tone. She mumbled an apology, trembling. Ran barked at her to hurry up and leave, her patience gone. Choy whispered to Nayoung that Ran was scary. Nayoung nodded, admitting she felt nervous too. Young clicked his tongue, annoyed that his fun got cut short. He thought Ran was getting too bold, acting big just because she'd awakened. He wondered if awakening was even a good thing. She didn't seem to know she was using skills, and he had no clue where they came from. He pondered if awakening tied to personality, then gave up thinking about it. Teasing Yunji had fired him up, especially after locking eyes with her. He started wondering if Nayoung might awaken too. Young turned to Nayoung, telling her to come with him. He said to stop chatting nonsense and follow him quick. They headed to the washroom, where he planned to teach her something new. Meanwhile, Yunji stumbled into a bathroom, her hands trembling. She thought to herself, her body still feeling off and strange. It was a sensation she'd never had before, like she needed to go to the washroom but couldn't. Her skin burned hot, and she didn't understand why. She wondered what this overwhelming feeling was, panicking inside. If it had gotten worse earlier, she might have embarrassed herself in front of everyone. She questioned why it hit her so suddenly. Thinking about Young's face made her body react again, out of control. She paused, wondering if this was what her friends called love. Her heart raced as she shook her head, denying it. Then she heard a voice, sharp and familiar. It was Young's voice. She froze, realizing she might have walked into the men's bathroom by mistake. In the next stall over, Young's status window glowed in front of him. It said he'd earned a hint about Nayoung's awakening, thanks to meeting some conditions. Despite her gentle look, Nayoung got fired up by rough treatment from her master. The window explained that satisfying her hidden desires could push her to awaken. Young grinned, turning to Nayoung with a dark look. She flinched, asking why his expression was so scary. Young slapped her hard across the face, his voice low and harsh. He asked when she got so bold, saying she didn't know her place. He pointed out they were alone, yet she dared question him instead of obeying. He reminded her she used to listen without a word. Now she was talking back, acting up like Ran did. He accused her of picking up bad habits from Kim Ran's arrogance. Nayoung shrank back, apologizing fast, saying she was wrong. Young smirked, leaning closer. He said if his toy didn't want this, she should just say so. He added there'd be no need to punish her so much if she did. He could toss her aside right then, he warned. Nayoung's eyes widened, pleading that it wasn't like that. She swore she loved her master so much, begging him to believe her. Young tilted his head, saying he wasn't sure if she meant it. He told her to prove her sincerity, his tone cold. Nayoung hesitated, then started showing him she was serious. Meanwhile, Choy sat at the restaurant table, stuck with Ran. He thought to himself, Young had vanished out of nowhere, leaving him unsure what to do. He glanced at Ran, noting she seemed the scariest of the group. Choy forced a laugh, saying it was awkward with just the two of them left. He asked if she knew where Young and Nayoung went, since they'd been gone a while. He fidgeted, thinking it was tough to find words. Ran snapped at him, calling him a kid who was bugging her. She said she was already mad and he was dumb for asking where they went. Her sharp tone made Choy shrink back a little. He mumbled an apology, trying to explain himself. Ran cut him off, asking why he'd even bother asking. She said it was obvious they went off to mess around together. She smirked, saying he couldn't play innocent since he was Young's disciple. Choy's jaw dropped, shocked by her bluntness. Ran raised an eyebrow, asking if he really didn't know. She teased, wondering if he was a virgin. Choy blurted out that he was still in high school. He asked why she was staring at him so weirdly. Ran softened a bit, saying it was fine and apologizing. She added he looked cute when flustered, reminding her of how Young used to be. She squinted, asking why he seemed to expect something, threatening him playfully. Choy quickly said sorry, shaking his head. He thought to himself, confirming she was scary and he'd get in trouble for looking at her wrong. Ran hummed, saying Young was once a cute loser too. She admitted he was way cooler now, though. Choy hesitated, then asked if they were all Young's girlfriends. Ran tilted her head, saying she wasn't sure. She claimed she was his favorite, but it was something like that. Choy's eyes widened, asking if someone could date multiple girls like them at once. Ran laughed, saying it wasn't normal, but Young was special. Meanwhile, in the washroom, Young was teaching Nayoung a lesson in sincerity. Nearby, Yunji is also enjoying their lesson. Yunji's interest in Young spiked after that strange day. Young's status window glowed, noting her high interest. It logged her as a candidate for his next slave, quietly updating his list. Later at the restaurant, Yunji sat off to the side, lost in thought. Her mind wandered, replaying everything. The manager stormed over, snapping at her for daydreaming during work. Yunji apologized quickly, promising to focus. The manager asked what was on her mind, guessing it was a boyfriend. She shook her head, saying she didn't have one. He smirked, then smacked her backside lightly. He told her to wash her face and rest if she couldn't stop spacing out. He'd handle the counter, he added, shooting her off. She thanked him, heading to the washroom. A co-worker piped up, warning the manager he'd get in trouble messing with Yunji like that. The manager turned, asking what he meant. The worker said she was nice and they'd lose her like other part-timers. The manager laughed it off, saying it was just a little slap. He told the worker to stop staring at Yunji and get back to work. The worker stammered, saying that wasn't it. The manager teased, asking if he liked her. The worker denied it, flustered by the accusation. The manager shrugged, saying they'd both pretend it didn't happen. He bragged he was working on making Yunji his girl, so no worries. He mused she'd look good without clothes, claiming he'd charmed part-timers before. He said girls like Yunji, pretty but simple, were wild in private. He figured she'd think about that slap later and touch herself. The worker just stood there, unsure what to say. Meanwhile, Yunji leaned against the washroom sink, her thoughts spinning. She felt crazy, stuck on what happened that day with Young. That first rush had been so strong, and she craved it again. She shook her head, shifting focus. Lately, the manager kept touching her, she realized. She wondered if she should tell him to stop, feeling it was getting out of hand. She admitted she'd messed up at work, earning his scolding. But instead of the manager, she imagined Young's hands on her. Just the thought of her master striking her sent a shiver down her spine. She stepped out, still buzzing. A customer walked in, and she greeted them with a bright welcome to King Burger. Her eyes widened. It was Young, heading to the counter. The manager smiled, asking how he could help. Young ordered a large King Burger set, keeping it simple. The manager nodded, checking if he needed more. Yunji's heart jumped, recognizing him as her master. Their eyes met and she froze, unsure what to do. She rushed to the manager, asking what Young ordered. He said it was a large King Burger set, curious why she cared. Yunji volunteered to make it, her voice quick. She prepared it fast, then brought it to Young's table herself. She set it down, saying it was his order. Young thanked her, calm as ever. Yunji stepped back, her pulse racing from being so close. The manager watched from behind the counter, his mood souring. He thought to himself, annoyed, wondering who this guy was. A flicker of jealousy sparked as he glared at Young. Young sat chewing his burger at the table. Yunji walked up and asked how it tasted. She said she made this one extra special today. Young nodded and said it did taste better than usual. Yunji smiled wide and thought she worked harder for her master. A glowing status window popped up for Young. It said Yunji's interest reached over 25. He could dominate her in the next 24 hours for a level up. If he failed, he'd lose a level and her interest would reset. Young thought it sounded way too simple. Yunji stood there nervous and short of breath. Young asked why she hadn't moved yet. He thought her jumpy reaction was cute. He asked if she had more to say. Yunji stumbled over her words with nothing clear to add. The manager watched them from across the room. He grumbled about some loser stealing his target. He told a worker to cover the counter and marched over. Yunji worried Young might find her odd. She blurted out a request for his phone number. Right then, Young's window warned him of a hostile opponent closing in. The manager faked a slip and crashed into Young's food. He said sorry loud and blamed the wet floor. He offered to remake the spilled meal like it was no problem. Then he turned mean and told Young off for hitting on staff. He said to stop being a creep and get out. Yunji tried to explain that it was her who asked, not him. The manager told her to shut it. Yunji thought he still got it wrong. He said he'd fix it and sent her to the counter. Young's window said he'd been shamed by this guy. His dignity dropped a level and charm took a permanent hit. Yunji was scared of the mess. Young got mad thinking this jerk ruined his vibe. He was having fun playing it smoothly. Now this ugly guy butted in and crossed a line. The manager grabbed Young's collar and yelled. Young twisted his hand hard in return. The manager shouted for him to let go. Young used his dignity skill on him. The manager felt heavy and stuck all of a sudden. He backpedaled, saying he didn't mean it. He thought he couldn't just give up. He told Young to stay away from Yunji, then Yunji kicked him out of nowhere. She asked if the manager was okay. She turned to Young and said she messed up again. His window flashed a new quest about danger and Yunji's fear. It said failing here would tank the domination quest. Young sighed, thinking it was all a hassle. He decided they had to run for it. They bolted outside and hid between two buildings. Young spun on Yunji, asking why she'd kick someone like that. He mocked her taekwondo move. Yunji said sorry and that it just happened. She didn't know what to call him. She fumbled, not sure how to address him. Young remembered they were on a quest. He saw her trembling and wondered what to do. His window chimed, saying the domination quest was done. Yunji looked up and asked if she should call him master now. She offered herself to make up for the trouble. Her voice was soft but ready. Young looked at Yunji and told her to be real with him. He asked if she was an idiot. Yunji shook her head and said she wasn't. He snapped back, calling her an idiot anyway. He said no normal girl would act like this with a stranger and told her to lift her skirt right now. Yunji mumbled an apology, looking nervous. Young thought to himself this was new and it threw him off. He felt flustered and mad at the same time. Yunji squeaked, saying it wasn't meant to go like this. She admitted it felt that way, though. Young thought she was jumping ahead to stuff he planned to order slowly. He was surprised she was already on it. He asked if she threw herself at every guy she met. Yunji said no way, quick and firm. Young pressed her on why she did it then. She explained he got in trouble because of her and still saved her. She felt thankful and sorry about it. She confessed she'd never dated anyone before. She said she meant to confess her feelings. It was her first try and she thought she messed it up. Young asked who confesses like that, all confused. Yunji said she fell for him at first sight and asked him to date her. Young's status window flashed with a new quest called Domination Quest 2, Slave Grooming. It said Yunji had no experience and mistook his teasing for love. The quest warned she could turn wild with desire if he messed up. He had to groom her into a loyal slave carefully in 20 minutes without going too far. Success gave nothing but failure meant losing 5 levels and the quest. Young shook his head and said he knew she was an idiot. He thanked her for being brave with her confession. Then he said sorry, but he didn't want girlfriends. Yunji apologized again, looking down. Young said he was into taming slaves like she guessed. She asked what she could do to be one. He said it wasn't much, and if she was fine with being a slave, they could keep going. He told her to strip again, wondering why she hesitated now. Yunji said it wasn't that, and she could do it. She started following his lead. Young nodded, saying she got it better than he expected. He thought she caught on fast. Then he began working on the domination quest. Later, Young walked alone down the street. He thought to himself he somehow finished the quest with Yunji. It felt like a close call, but he pulled it off. He had given Yunji his number before leaving. He told her he saved it on her phone. He said to come quickly next time he called her. Young muttered to himself about the burger part-timer. He felt off about turning her into a slave. He'd only teased her with his hands for fun, but it spiraled into this. He decided he shouldn't mess with just anyone next time. That's what he thought anyway. Then he spotted a tough-looking girl walking by. His eyes lit up, thinking she was a bad girl type. He didn't have one like her yet and couldn't resist. He tried to use his stopwatch ability on her. His status window flashed a warning. It said his magic power was too low to activate the skill. He realized running off with Yunji drained it all. Young shrugged and headed to Jungwoon's place instead. He cleared his throat and announced he was there. Jungwoon greeted him, glad to see him. He asked if she had any customers around. Jungwoon said not now, but it'd get busy soon. Young nodded, saying they should make use of the quiet time. She asked if he'd eaten yet, offering food. Young said he already ate at the restaurant. He leaned in, asking if she missed him since it had been days. He teased that he was dying to get close to her. Jungwoon blinked, saying she missed him too, but stumbled over her words. Young grinned, knowing he made the right choice coming here. He said her flustered look made him want to tease her more. He called her the best for how she reacted. He hinted her shy movements showed she missed him plenty. Then he pointed out that she forgot something. He'd told her not to call him a student when alone. He said it was fine and he'd let it slide this once. Young moved closer to boost his magic power. He figured Young Woon could help him recharge. After boosting his magic power with Young Woon's help, Young headed home. He crashed in his room and slept hard. When he woke up, he stretched big, feeling great. He yawned, saying that sleep was amazing. He didn't know why, but after being with Young Woon, he felt extra fresh. Then he froze, hearing someone in his place. He called out, asking who was there so early. He saw it was Nami and asked why she came in the morning. Nami shot back, saying it wasn't morning anymore. She pointed out it was lunchtime now. Young shrugged, saying it was basically the same thing. Nami asked if he'd really slept this late. She called him a huge playboy, shaking her head. She tossed him some food, saying she got extra with her lunch. She figured he hadn't eaten yet. He stared at her, and she asked why he was looking like that. She told him to put clothes on when answering the door. She said he kept surprising her like this. Young grinned, calling her cute. Nami snapped, asking why he was smiling. He told her to stop nagging and come in to eat with him. She blinked, saying okay, and stepped inside. They sat in his room eating lunch together. The food was simple but good enough. After eating, they messed around playing games. Young leaned back, relaxed with Nami next to him. They laughed and passed the time easy. After playing games, Young leaned back, feeling good. He said he felt refreshed. Nami huffed, saying he wouldn't even care if she got pregnant from all this. Young snapped, calling her a pig for complaining. His status window glowed with a new quest, Domination Quest 3. It told him to fully dominate Yunji by showing her new kinds of pleasure. He had 24 hours to finish it. Success meant a level and charm boost, but failure would drop him 5 levels and lose Yunji. Young muttered he hadn't really gone all out with the burger girl yet. He thought it was a hassle, but the penalty was too steep to skip. Nami glared, asking why he ignored her, to mumble to himself. She asked if he was free for dinner since she'd finished studying early. Young said sorry, he already had plans. He saw her frown and told her not to be mad. He promised to buy her something nice to cheer her up. Later at the burger store, Yunji moped around. She thought about why her master hadn't texted her. A co-worker asked why she looked so down. Yunji apologized, saying she was fine. The worker guessed it was about the manager getting fired. He said it wasn't her fault and everyone supported her. Her phone buzzed with a text from Young. It said to come to his place after work with an address. Yunji perked up and headed there once her shift ended. She stood outside his apartment feeling jittery. She thought this was where her master lived and debated going in. Her heart pounded hard as she faced the door. Young swung it open, catching her staring. He asked why she was just standing there. Yunji stammered, trying to explain herself. He told her to hurry up and strip now that she was here. Yunji quickly shed her clothes, saying she was done. Young said she should have been faster. He noticed her legs looked strong, maybe from exercise. He called her a wild one for stripping so easy after claiming love at first sight. He asked if she really did taekwondo like she said. He told her to do a split then. He warned her not to make him repeat it. Yunji said yes and apologized, ready to follow his lead. After Young and Yunji finished their intense time together, Young's status window lit up. It said he completed Domination Quest 3 for Yunji. He gained a level and 2 charm points. A hidden quest popped up too about a sun hole. It is called Yunji, a rare catch that is hot and tight. It said dominating her fully would make anyone lose control. Young read it and thought the name was over the top for a burger girl. He admitted the description sounded impressive, though. His window added he earned new skills for it. He got Fire Attribute Magic and Electricity Attribute Magic Level 1. Young smirked, feeling pretty good about the rewards. He left Yunji to rest and went on his way. Later, Yunji sat in a barber shop getting her hair done. She thought to herself, still tasting Young in her mouth. It was better than she expected, and she wanted more. The barber girl Harry finished up and asked why Yunji looked so flustered. Yunji stumbled, saying it was nothing much. They started chatting about it. Harry teased that Yunji at 25 and single forever had a boyfriend now. Yunji said they weren't dating exactly. She explained he had lots of girls and it was more like master and slave. Harry choked on her coffee, spitting it out. Yunji asked if she was okay. Harry demanded to know what she was talking about. Yunji said it sounded odd, but that's how it was. Harry told her to sit and explain it clearly. She didn't want to get it wrong. Yunji said her master scolded her and did adult stuff with her. Harry blinked, saying they weren't dating but went all out. She cursed, asking where this guy lived so she could confront him. Yunji begged her not to talk like that about him. She said she liked him a lot. Harry snapped, saying Yunji didn't know anything about guys. She called him a player and wondered how a 20-year-old dared mess with her friend. She asked if he was hot or rich or something else. Yunji said she didn't know about the rich, but he was the other two. She bragged his body was great and her type. She said his size shocked her when she tried it out. It filled her whole mouth her first time. Harry cut her off, saying to stop. She got the picture loud and clear. Yunji asked if that wasn't big since it took up so much space. Harry said that wasn't the point. She called him a no-go for Yunji. Yunji asked why not be confused. Harry yelled it was weird for her friend to fall for some creep like this. She said Yunji never dated right, and now she'd jumped into this mess. Yunji wondered if it was that strange. She thought this was just how adults worked. Harry said this wouldn't happen. She decided they'd go see this guy tomorrow. Yunji looked surprised, asking why so suddenly. Harry said she'd check him out herself. She wanted to see if he matched Yunji's big talk. Later, Yunji and Harry walked toward Young's place. Yunji remembered Young telling her not to contact him until he reached out. She thought she might get in trouble with her master because of Harry. Harry teased, asking if Yunji's boyfriend was a broke student in a tiny apartment. They got close to the door. Yunji begged Harry to leave, but Harry pushed her to knock. She told Yunji to hurry up and do it. Yunji groaned and knocked, calling out for her master. Young inside wasn't expecting anyone and opened the door. He saw Yunji and asked why she was there. Yunji said, sorry, explaining she meant to follow his rules. Young said he was sure he told her not to show up uninvited. His status window warned him someone unfriendly was nearby. Harry stepped up saying hi and asked if he was Yunji's new boyfriend. She said Yunji bragged about him, so she wanted to meet him. Young's window popped up stats for Gu Harry, an apprentice designer with zero interest in him. Harry said she'd talk casually since she was older. The window noted her informal tone hurt his dignity as Monster King. Young muttered he was stunned by this nonsense. Harry asked what he just said. Yunji told Harry to stop saying she promised not to cause trouble and he wasn't her boyfriend. A new domination quest flashed up for Young. It said Harry was a bold girl looking down on him and he had to put her in her place. Success made her a slave, but failure cost a level and stats. Yunji apologized to Young for Harry's attitude. Young told them both to come inside since they were here. Harry smirked and laughed at him. She mocked him as a near 20 repeat student hitting on Yunji at work. Yunji snapped at her, saying that wasn't true. Harry kept calling him poor and gutsy for flirting at a burger joint. She said he was pathetic and not good enough for Yunji. Young asked what disqualified meant and if it changed anything. Harry laughed, saying it was a joke. She added that as Yunji's best friend, her opinion might matter. She asked why Yunji called him Master, wondering about the nickname. Young said she was curious about it, huh? He turned to Yunji, asking what he told her to do when she came over. Yunji hesitated, so he pushed her to answer. She stammered, saying he told her not to wear anything underneath because it got in the way. Young asked what about now. Yunji said sorry and quickly fixed it. Harry yelled, asking what they were doing. Young looked at Harry and asked why she was shy about it. He said she wanted to know what Master meant, so he showed her. Then he activated his stopwatch skill, stopping time. Harry thought her body felt weird and she couldn't move. Young grabbed her neck, saying she was just a bold girl acting up. He stared her down, ready to start the quest. Young glared at Harry, saying he could handle a lot but not arrogance. He added he really couldn't stand bold girls like her. He grabbed her chest, saying her size must be why she acted so big, even if it was less than Yunji's. Harry thought she couldn't move no matter how hard she tried. Her body stayed locked in place. She felt stuck and helpless. Young said she seemed like the type to toy with guys. He noted her face was pretty enough. He guessed showing off her chest like that usually worked on people. He asked if she didn't like it, telling her to speak up. Then he remembered she couldn't talk right now. He said her still face looked scary and decided to let her speak. Harry cursed at him, asking what he did to her. Young shrugged, saying he hadn't done much yet. He said he'd been nice so far, but her tone was still too bold. He slapped her hard across the face. He reminded her he hated arrogance like he said before. Harry stammered, asking how he could do this to her Yunji's best friend right in front of her. Young asked who she meant by girlfriend. He pointed out that Yunji was frozen too by his power. He said Harry wanted to know why Yunji called him Master, didn't she? Harry told him to stay back. Young said he'd show her why step by step. He turned on some skills saying it'd be a fun lesson. His status window flashed saying he'd used a weak electric touch on her chest. It gave him a charm boost and some experience points. Young laughed, saying it was a nice surprise. He thought messing with bold girls like her was the best. His window added a new hidden skill, electric torture of pleasure level 1. He asked if she'd wet herself already from it. He said he kept it low and was let down by her reaction. He decided to ramp it up and try again. Harry begged him to wait, saying she was wrong. Young asked what she meant by wrong now after all this. Harry promised she wouldn't be arrogant anymore. She said she'd do anything he wanted if he stopped the electric stuff. Young told her to strip and stand up then. He reminded her she said she'd obey. Harry agreed and started doing it fast. He told her to stand in front of Yunji and look her in the eyes. She followed his orders, shaky but willing. Young asked if seeing Yunji's face jogged her memory for something to say. Harry fumbled, saying sorry to Yunji for being rude to her boyfriend. Young smirked, ready to start her lesson. He stepped closer to teach her a lesson. Young and Harry finished their intense session as the stopwatch ability wore off. Yunji snapped back to normal, blinking at the scene. Harry lay on the floor panting and told Yunji she was sorry. She said Yunji's boyfriend was amazing. They gathered themselves and left Young's place. Young's status window glowed, saying he completed the Discipline the Slut quest. It said Harry's conditions as a slave were met. It added that getting his 6th slave unlocked bonus stats for him. Young thought it was nice to get stronger, but felt a weird unease. He asked for details on his 6 slaves. The window explained the Monster King legend about commanding 6 beautiful slaves. It said he'd grow stronger with each one's special traits. The condition was automatic once he hit 6. The reward was bonus stats based on their hidden qualities. It warned he couldn't have more than 6 and would need to drop one for a new slave. Young muttered about not knowing there was a cap. He wondered if he'd just been grabbing random girls this whole time. He called out to Naun, asking what she thought. He asked if she was mad about him meeting other girls. Naun said she didn't care how many he had as long as he still loved her. Young grinned and asked how she'd feel if he cut her from his list. He teased if she didn't like that idea. Naun begged him not to, pleading she'd do better. She said she was serious about staying with him. Young laughed, calling her an idiot. He said he was kidding and wouldn't ditch her since she did whatever he wanted. He remembered it was her birthday and offered a special gift. Naun thanked him excitedly as he started giving it to her. His status window suddenly flashed a warning about an outside threat. It said a rival power showed up in Youngwoon, one of his slaves. Young paused, saying what to Youngwoon out of nowhere. Naun asked if something was wrong. She wondered if he was okay. At Youngwoon's place, a rich man named Kung walked in. He greeted her warmly, calling her wife and asking if she'd been well. Youngwoon looked surprised, saying the president in shock. Young turned to Naun, saying he had to handle something quickly. Naun looked confused, asking what he meant. He told her not to worry and he'd be back soon. He said they'd keep celebrating her birthday later. He suggested she hang out with the others for now. Then he took off, heading to Youngwoon's place. At Youngwoon's shop, she faced her husband, Kung. She asked if he'd eaten lunch yet. She offered to whip up a meal fast. Kung smiled, saying it had been a while. He suggested they go upstairs to talk instead. Youngwoon handed him some fruit, thanking him for his help. She said he'd been good to them with the lease and their daughter Nana. Kung said it was natural since he knew their struggles. He bragged Nana was a star in his company even before her debut. Youngwoon asked if that was true. Kung laughed, saying Nana got her looks from her. Youngwoon thanked him again for watching over her. Kung leaned in, saying she got prettier every day. He asked if she'd found a new man he didn't know about. Youngwoon blinked, saying no way, and what did he mean? Kung nodded, saying that was a relief. He said she'd never pick anyone else over him, right? He reminded her she was grateful to him. He said it was time she paid him back. He hinted he'd been patient, waiting for her all this time. He teased her, saying patience wears thin with age. Youngwoon begged him to stop. Kung brushed it off, saying no need to be shy. He told his guards to stay outside and keep watch. Young sprinted to Youngwoon's place fast. His status window flashed, saying Youngwoon was in danger from an attack. A guard outside spotted him, asking who he was. The guard said the area was off limits. Young used a skill to knock him down quickly. Other guards shouted, asking what just happened. Young told them to get out of his way. He used more skills to push through. A girl stepped up saying the building was restricted for important people. Young hit her with a skill too. She froze, saying she couldn't move all of a sudden. Inside, Young-woon pleaded with Kung to stop. Kung pressed her, saying her youngest son needed college soon. He asked if she'd send him there. Young-woon begged again, saying please. Kung warned her resistance could hurt Nana's future. He said she didn't want that, did she? Young burst into the room ready to step in. Young stormed in and shouted at Kung, calling him a filthy name. His status window flashed, saying he'd met another Monster King candidate. A new quest popped up to humiliate Kung, the KC group president. It described Kung as a rich villain who chased talent and girls. He had the makings of a Monster King rival. Young needed to find his weakness and crush him before he fully woke up or face his power instead. The reward was Kung's wealth, but failure meant losing his own title. Kung asked who Young was and how he got in. Young told him to shut it, saying he'd tear him apart if he could. He held back because of the quest. Kung laughed, asking if Young was threatening him. Young took a breath, deciding to cool off a bit. He saw that Young-woon was safe now. He thought he'd use a skill to dig up Kung's weakness first. He snapped a quick photo of the scene. He asked if the picture was good enough, then he started hitting Kung hard. He asked if that felt better now. He warned Kung not to touch his woman again. Kung laughed, saying Young had no fear. He asked if Young knew who he was and could handle the fallout. Young shrugged, asking what fallout. He said Kung must think he was some big shot. He used a skill making Kung unable to move or speak. He mocked Kung's shocked face, asking if he was terrified now. Kung thought it had to be Young's doing. Young dared him to keep talking. He zapped Kung with an electric skill. His window said he'd tortured someone with high voltage, boosting his magic power. Kung passed out cold from it. Young said he could end anyone whenever he wanted. He asked how Kung thought he got in here. He said no one outside could save him now. Kung wet himself, shaking in fear. Young told him to scream if he didn't believe it. He said Kung could move again. Kung begged for mercy, weak and broken. Young said the old pig finally got it. He told Kung he's the one who'd face consequences, not him. He pulled out the photo showing Kung harassing Young-woon. He said it made Kung look like a total creep. He wondered what had happened if it went online, a big shot attacking married women. Later, Young checked on Young-woon, asking if she was okay. Young-woon flinched, telling him to stay back. Young asked if she was mad he got there late. He pulled her into a hug, saying sorry for the delay. Young-woon stammered, saying that wasn't it. She felt dirty after what happened in front of him. Young said nothing was ruined. He reminded her not to call him a student when alone. He teased he'd scold her for forgetting, but hugged her tighter. He said he was proud and would clean her up. He called himself her husband now to make her feel better. He told her to stop fussing since he'd fix everything. Young stepped back and asked Young-woon how she felt now. He said she looked all clean. Young-woon stammered a thank you, still shaky. Young said it was no big deal. He added he could do this forever. Young-woon blinked, asking what he meant by whole life. He brushed it off, asking if she felt better now. Young-woon nodded, saying yes, thanks to him. She admitted she was still rattled since Kung was a hero to her family until today. Young clicked his tongue, saying that the old jerk annoyed him. He muttered he should have hit him more. Young-woon begged him not to say it wasn't worth it. She worried Kung might hassle Young later. Young cut in, telling her to call him husband, not student. Young-woon apologized quickly, saying yes. He asked if she thought he was unreliable. Young-woon said no, that wasn't it. Young said her face made him think otherwise. She insisted it wasn't true, just worried. She said she was so glad he saved her today. When Kung came at her, she thought of Young without meaning to. Young grinned, saying really, and pulled her close. He said he couldn't hold back from hugging her. Young-woon gasped, saying she couldn't breathe. He told her not to worry. He said she was his and he'd always keep her safe. He offered to wash her again quickly so they could leave. Young thought to himself he was nervous today. He said it wasn't his first time with her. He told her to call him honey, not Ajuma. He caught himself and apologized. He said he'd call her Young One from now on. She nodded, still flustered but okay with it. Later, he showed her how to say honey right. They practiced it together slowly and steadily. Young-woon got the hang of it, smiling a little. Later, Kung stood in his office yelling at Anna, the female who is in charge of his security. He demanded to know how Young shamed him like that. He shouted about his worst humiliation ever while she just stood there. He screamed, asking what she was doing when it happened. Anna stammered, saying she was sorry. Kung said if she was sorry, she'd take a punishment. He told her to strip right then. Anna blinked, asking pardon, unsure she heard right. Kung asked if his words were too hard to understand. She said no and apologized quickly. She started taking off her clothes, saying she was done. Kung nodded, saying she chose to strip, huh? He began hitting her hard as punishment. Anna took it, wincing with every blow. After a while, she said she'd leave now. Kung stopped her, saying she knew what he wanted without him spelling it out. He said she was the only one he trusted. Anna nodded, saying yes, President, she understood. He told her to check Young's background fast. He said to do anything to get his phone and wipe that photo and video. Anna left to get it done. Later, Anna sat reading up on Young. The file said his name was Ju Young, age 20. It noted he grew up with divorced parents and lived alone in a cheap Goshiwon. It added he was a student at a top cram school for repeaters. Anna thought he was just an average 20-year-old with bad grades, but she remembered feeling something off that day. She recalled Kung saying his gut told him Young was trouble. He'd told her to use money if needed and handle it quiet like a lady. Anna wondered who this guy really was. She stared at the file, puzzled. Something didn't add up about him. She decided to dig deeper to figure it out. The vice team leader approached Anna, saying, "Excuse me." Anna asked what was wrong. He apologized, saying she always took the heat when things went bad. She said it was fine since their team rarely messed up. The driver chimed in, saying this time they couldn't stop Young. Anna said she still thought her security team was the best in KC Group. She added she didn't blame them for this odd case. She told them to gear up and avoid slip-ups next time. They nodded, ready to move on. Later, Young arrived at a restaurant to meet Kung. He checked the spot, saying this must be it. His status window had popped up, saying he finished the quest to humiliate Kung. It added a sub-quest for the reward that was waiting. Young said he didn't expect Kung to reach out so fast. He grumbled that Kung dared summon him instead of coming himself. He wondered if it was better this way with less hassle. He decided he'd demand a big payout anyway. He frowned, seeing it was a traditional Korean place, not his favorite. A girl walked up asking if he was Ju Young. He said yeah, asking why. She confirmed it and led him to a VIP room, saying his group was inside. Young followed, thinking dirty stuff about her. He wondered if he should freeze time and mess with her. She pointed to the room, saying his company was waiting. He clicked his tongue, losing interest. He said the vibe was awful now. He yelled at the guards, asking why so many were there and if Kung was scared. A guard said the team leader was inside waiting. Young stepped in and saw Anna. She welcomed him, saying she'd been expecting him. He recognized her, saying he thought it'd be someone else. Anna introduced herself as Kung's secretary and security head Kang Anna. She offered him a seat and her card. Young asked where the old man was. Anna said Kung was too busy to come. She was here to talk for him instead. Young muttered Kung was cockier than he thought. He said he should have hit him harder. The vice team leader snapped, saying how dare he talk about the president like that. Anna scolded the vice team leader, asking if he'd mess up again. He apologized quickly. She said sorry to Young for his rudeness, asking for patience. Young said he'd let it go, but it'd cost more now. Anna asked what he meant by settlement. He said she knew why, to hush up the photos and video of Kung. His window updated, saying the sub-quest for the reward had started. He told her not to act nervous since he wasn't greedy. He asked to start with what Kung offered. Anna laughed, saying that'd speed things up. She handed him cash, saying it was 100 million won. Young gaped, asking 100 million. She said it was to get all copies of the video and photos back. She added it was Kung's way of saying sorry. Young asked if they really thought this would settle it. He said they must be looking down on him. Anna said they'd give Jungwoon the same amount too. Young asked if they were joking. He used his dignity skill, making everyone feel heavy fear. He shouted they dared mock him with just 100 million. Anna thought she felt a weird pressure. Young said he was the fool for wanting peace. He told her to call Kung now. Anna asked if he had a number in mind. He demanded 1 billion won. He said that'd make him forgive even their insult. Anna stammered, saying that was huge. He asked if she thought he was kidding. He said it was her job to make it happen. He told her to call Kung if she couldn't. He froze time with his stopwatch skill. Anna thought her body went strange all of a sudden. Young said they were done for messing with him. She asked what he did. He said nothing, asking what she was doing to him. Anna said pardon, confused. He laughed, saying she tried to shame him. He leaned in, ready to push harder. The room tensed up fast. Young sneered at Anna, saying he wanted to see what a KC group secretary had to offer. He said after stripping her, she wasn't anything special. Anna asked how he could do this to her. He shot back, asking why not, since her boss did worse to Young Woon. He mocked her, saying her chest was too big for a secretary. He asked if Kung picked her for that reason. Anna begged him to stop whatever he did to freeze her body. She said she understood what happened to Jung Woon. Young snapped, asking what she meant by relate. He called her out for going too far. He hit her hard, saying nice words didn't work on bold girls like her. He zapped her with his electric skill. He said she was holding up okay. He told her acting classy didn't hide what a mess she was. Anna said it was his weird tricks doing this to her. Young laughed, saying she was just shy about it. He asked if she wanted more punishment. He said he'd strip her to prove she was a mess. He said she looked better now. He wanted to check if the KC secretary was really that wild. He said he was right, calling her a dripping mess. He mocked her state, asking if her job was to please Kung every night. Anna glared at him, furious. Young grinned, saying it was a joke, but her face said otherwise. He asked if he nailed it. He laughed, saying she must be Kung's little toy then. He said he couldn't let that slide. He reminded her he'd settle for 1 billion. He upped it to 2 billion now for her attitude. His status window flashed, saying another Monster King candidate was after his slaves. It added a new high alien guest quest. The sub-quest shifted with this update. Young stood over Anna, ready to push harder. Young's status window lit up with a new extortion quest. It said he could capture Anna, Kung's secretary, for a big reward. Anna was a top lawyer and security leader already under Kung's control. It promised Kung's wealth and Anna as a slave if he shamed her enough. Failure meant losing all his slaves to Kung's power. Young grinned, saying easy rewards were dull. He thanked Anna for making it fun. Anna glared, saying she wouldn't let him off. She promised he'd regret this. Young laughed, asking if she really thought so. He said he'd have to teach her a lesson then. He hit her with a bunch of skills to break her down. His window said the mix of skills pushed her pleasure to the max and locked it there. He asked if she'd be honest now. He said if she was, he'd take her settlement offer seriously. He told her to wrap this up quickly and go get Kung's praise. He called it her last shot to think hard. Anna gasped, saying sorry to the president. Young smirked, saying she should have said it sooner. He stood over her, ready to seal the deal. 2 days later, Young's status window flashed a congratulations. It said he finished the extortion quest with Anna. Anna stood before him, saying sorry. She said 2 billion won was impossible to get. Young frowned, annoyed at his window's update. It said Anna was now a temporary slave for 3 days. It warned her title would lift soon. Young thought he was in trouble, needing to register her for the full reward. The window said he'd hit his 6-slave limit and had to drop one. He grumbled, asking if this was really a reward. He wondered if it was too much for being greedy. He asked if there was no other way out. He turned to Anna, saying he told her to get the money from Kung. Anna said that amount was beyond her reach. Young sighed, asking what he should do now. He thought this put him in a bind. He debated if he really had to lose a slave. He didn't want to give up on anyone. He figured if he had to, it'd be Yunji or Harry. He had the least connection with them since they were new. He decided to check their stats to pick. He saw Yunji had high bonuses. He chose to ditch Harry instead. He thought it sucked he had to lose it all. Before making Anna official, he'd mess with her hard. He asked if she took his orders lightly. He hit her with a skill to prove a point. Anna begged him to wait, saying he got it wrong. She said she never meant to defy him. Young told her to say who her master was. She said it was him calling him master. He said this was punishment for crossing him. He zapped her with electric power, dropping her to the floor. He said his word was final, not a request. He asked if she still saw Kung as her master. Anna said no, she wasn't Kung's secretary anymore. Young told her to strip, saying she was hopeless. He said she needed to learn who owned her now. He demanded she obey like a dog. He said until she got the 2 billion, she was a dog, not a person. He told her to bark unless she had the cash. He thought this felt awesome. He planned to shame and break her today. He called her out, saying she was no better than a dog. He asked if she could act so wild after being crushed. After hours of punishing Anna without a break, Young's status window pinged. It said only 1 hour was left before Anna stopped being his temporary slave. Young hummed, saying it was a blast. He asked if that much time had already gone by. He noted she now followed his every word perfectly. He wondered if he should make her official. His window asked if he'd ditch Harry to register Anna instead. Young hit yes without a second thought. He told Anna they'd wrap up her special training here. He said she did well and could rest for a few days. Anna stammered, calling him Master Young. She said she had something to tell him. Young cut her off, saying rest didn't mean talking like a person. Anna pushed on, saying she found a way to keep his favor. She corrected herself, saying she figured out how to get the 2 billion from Kung. Young perked up, asking if that was true. Anna looked at Young, saying she'd get the money from Kung if he wanted. She begged him to trust her with it. Young's status window flashed, saying Anna was now one of his 6 official slaves. It added he could claim the big extortion quest reward. Young grinned, saying it was finally time. He congratulated Anna for becoming his toy, not just a pup. He offered her a celebratory drink as a reward. Anna gasped excitedly for his gift. Meanwhile, Nami stepped out of her room next door. She thought studying every day wore her out. She decided to get some fresh air. As she walked out, she spotted Anna leaving Young's place. Anna told Young she'd head out now. Nami thought who this strangely dressed woman was. Anna reassured Young not to worry about his payout. She promised to dig up everything she could for a good result. Nami peeked, thinking this was Anna, the star student from her school. She wondered why someone so big was here in the daytime. She realized Anna came from Young's room. Nami marched over to ask what was up. Young turned on her, starting to punish her instead. Nami asked what she did to make him mad. Young said she looked like she felt wronged. He said she still didn't get her mistake. Nami begged to know what she did. She said she only mentioned seeing a stranger leave his place. Young pointed out she admitted her fault herself. He asked why she barged in jealous and whining about him meeting another girl. Nami snapped, asking what he meant. She accused him of sneaking around with random women. Young laughed, calling her a bore, saying it wasn't cheating. He asked when she was his girlfriend. Nami said she wasn't, but trailed off. Young went hard, punishing her for it. Meanwhile, Kung raged in his office, smashing things. He yelled it had been 3 days since Anna vanished. He asked how it made sense for someone to just disappear. The vice team leader apologized, saying they weren't sure where she went. Kung shouted, asking how they didn't know where their leader was. He ordered them to find her now. The vice team leader stepped out shaken. A guard asked if he was okay, pointing at blood on his head. He said he was fine, and they expected Kung's temper. He said Anna used to deal with this alone. Another guy asked if she'd even come back. He said her perfect image cracked that day and she wouldn't return. He added she was his role model once. He said Young shamed her in front of them all. He felt betrayed, remembering her face back then. The vice leader grabbed his collar, asking if he forgot their reputation was at stake. The guy choked out a sorry. The vice leader said what they saw was just a dream. They all agreed to keep quiet. The guy asked who Young even was. He said their elite team couldn't touch him twice and worried how they'd manage without Anna. The vice leader started to answer but stopped. Anna walked in, asking why they were all there. She teased if they came to welcome her back, saying she was touched. She noticed the vice leader bleeding and asked who hurt him. He hesitated, but she said she knew it was Kung. She told them not to worry, she'd fix it all. Anna marched into Kung's room. She apologized for being late, saying she handled his orders. Kung softened, saying he was glad she was back. He asked if she was hurt and took care of it. He said he'd been worried sick when she dropped off. Anna said she thought she did well and was sorry for the scare. Kung said he was relieved she pulled it off. He noted her outfit was bolder than usual. He asked if she wore it to surprise him after the delay. Anna said she dressed this way for her new master Young. She called it a misunderstanding that bothered her. Kung asked what she meant by the new master, confused. She grabbed his hand and slammed him to the floor, stepping on him. Kung yelled, asking if she'd lost it. Anna said she'd relay Young's orders now. She told him Young wanted over 20 billion won for what he did to Jungwoon. She said less wouldn't cut it. Kung stammered, asking if 20 billion made sense. Anna agreed it didn't, saying she'd take his whole company. She called Young generous for settling low. Kung shouted, asking what nonsense this was. Anna asked if he just insulted her master. She upped the price to 30 billion for it. She pulled out a memory card saying it held all his dirty secrets. She listed off photos of women he'd hurt and records of his shady money. She said it took time to pack it all in. She offered him a copy to see for himself. Kung begged, asking why she'd do this. He asked if he upset her or paid her too little. Anna said he shouldn't act like that since she loved him once. She thought he was special and her purpose. She said Young was real, not fake like him. She asked if he could feel the joy Young gave her. Kung demanded to know what Young did to her. Anna said calling him that was rude. She said Young could end him quietly and easily. She added he was lucky Young offered mercy with cash. She asked if he remembered messing with Young's stuff. She told him to think about what Young could do if he tried. She said his secret 30 billion won fund was on the card. She told him to hand it over now. She said if he did, she'd spare him since Young loved her. She asked if he'd lose everything and die or take Young's deal. Kung gave in, saying he'd surrender the fund. Anna praised his choice. She said she'd reward him with a gift. She called it a special treat. She handed him a juice, smiling. Later, Anna sat at Young's place with him. Young mused about the 30 billion won he'd gotten. He wondered what to do now that he was rich. He thought about buying a supercar like a Lamborghini. Then he said maybe a house by the Han River instead. Anna said both sounded perfect for him. She added he picked stuff that fit him well. She suggested he just buy everything he wanted. Young asked if that wasn't too much with 30 billion. He said even a Seoul building cost billions. He admitted he wasn't great with money. Anna told him not to stress about it. She offered to handle everything and help him get it all. Young said he'd lean on her since she offered. Anna asked if she could take 10 billion of it. Young blinked, asking why she suddenly wanted 10 billion. Anna said she'd start a company for him. She planned an investment firm to grow his money forever. She added she'd hire pretty women he'd like. Young repeated infinite money and women. Anna begged him to trust her with it. She said she'd show how useful she could be as his pet. Young sat back thinking it over. Anna waited, eager to prove herself. A month later, Young stared at his phone, shocked. He saw 30 billion won in his once empty account. He shouted he was rich now. College exams started around then too. Young skipped them entirely. He'd waited a year for this chance, but saw no point anymore. Young seemed happy with her results. Young didn't expect Ran to do well either. She didn't seem the type, but pulled it off when it mattered. Not everyone aced it, though. Choy flopped his first try, focusing elsewhere. Young spent that time visiting Jungwoon Choi's mom. It lets him see her without worrying about Choy. He didn't go empty-handed bringing a gift she'd like. He and Anna showed up together. Jungwoon asked why they were a pair. Young said she shouldn't fear Anna. He explained Anna worked for him now, not KC Group. He told Anna to show what they brought. Anna agreed, handing Jungwoon an envelope. She said it was from President Young. Jungwoon blinked, asking President, confused. Anna said Young now owned her building. She added he'd waived rent for her home and restaurant. Young reminded her he'd promised to look after her. He thought he made a big deal of it, but it was nothing to him. He realized his wealth came from her in a way. Owning the building felt small compared to that. Anna had said the area might get fixed up soon. She advised giving rewards bit by bit, not all at once. Young found her tips worked better than he'd guessed. He watched Jungwoon's face soften. It felt good seeing it pay off. Then Young and Anna started their own company. Anna sat flipping through stacks of CVs. She thought the applicants were missing something. She said their experience wasn't bad. But if Young asked her opinion, she'd say they lacked looks or talent. For regular staff, decent hires were fine. For key roles to grow the company, she wanted the best. She wondered what to do, muttering about no good fits. Suddenly, Young walked in. Anna jumped up, saying to come in. She greeted him as Master flustered. Young asked what she was up to. He grumbled about her calling him there so early. Anna said she needed to talk about hiring and a year-end event. Young snapped, asking if that was all. He called her crazy for dragging him out for that. Anna apologized quickly, saying she messed up. Young said she could have just come to him. He asked why he had to show up himself. Anna said sorry again for not thinking it through. Young forgave her since it was her first slip. He said since he was here, he'd hear her out. He asked what she wanted to talk about. Anna said it was about new hires. She asked if he could suggest some people. Young said sure, tell him what kind she needed. Anna said one for security and one for admin if possible. Young nodded, saying he had ideas. Later, Yunji got a text from him and gasped, calling him master. Nami got a call saying to come for an interview now. Nami asked what he meant, all confused. She told him to wait, but he hung up. She muttered about what was happening with this interview stuff. Nami and Yunji headed to the spot Young gave them. They arrived and froze in shock. They saw Young and Anna tangled up doing wild things. Inside the room, Anna stood ready to move forward. She said they'd start the 5Z Investments interview now. Nami snapped, asking what interview, and told them not to brush past this. She demanded they explain what was happening. Anna asked what she needed to clarify. Nami shot back, asking if she really didn't know. Anna called Nami out by name, saying she was bold. She asked if Nami thought she was Young's real girlfriend. She said she'd given everything to Young, unlike Nami. She didn't fake being his lover like Nami did. She aimed to serve Young's joy and needs fully. She accused Nami of acting special in front of her. Yunji thought she was stuck between two fierce older girls. Anna said since she was already bare, she'd show them. She'd prove how loyal she was to Young. She said they'd all see it clear. She pointed out that Nami and Yunji were in the same boat. She'd heard they worked hard to please Young too. She said they were here for an interview because Young picked them. She asked if they'd deny it. Nami groaned at being called a crude name. Anna said they should be proud Young saw them that way. She asked if they knew what company this was. She said it was Young's own investment firm. Nami blinked, asking if Young really made it. She said it didn't add up for a broke guy like him. Anna said it might sound wild, but they had over 10 billion won. She said it was all Young's money. Their goal was to grow his wealth even more. She said they'd be his key helpers managing his cash. She announced the interview would begin now. She asked if anyone wanted to bail out. She took their silence as a yes to stay. She asked why they hadn't stripped yet. She said it might hurt their chances otherwise. She teased if they'd leave her as the only one bare. They followed her lead, shedding their appearance. The room buzzed with tension as it started. Anna watched them, ready to test their fit. Young watched, thinking they were up to something odd. Anna said she'd start the evaluation now. She turned to Yunji, asking if she was a national taekwondo athlete. She noted Yunji had a big chest for an athlete. Yunji mumbled a sorry. Anna said no need, it was a good thing. She said Yunji's thighs looked tough from training. She kept teasing until Yunji passed out. Anna sighed, saying it was a letdown. She said Yunji climaxed too fast without Young even touching her. She passed her anyway. She thought Yunji could be useful with some training. Anna moved to Nami, saying she wasn't sure about her. She said Nami's face was nice, but her upkeep was sloppy. She asked if Nami studied law at Korea University. She guessed Nami struggled with school. Nami said no, she didn't. Anna asked why she hadn't taken better care of herself then. She heard Nami was preparing for big exams. She said Nami's chest sagged and her belly had extra weight. She blamed it on sitting and studying too much. Nami snapped, asking if that wasn't rude. Anna asked if she got something wrong. Nami said yes, stammering she worked out sometimes. She said she did squats when she could. She admitted her body wasn't perfect. She shot back that it beat Anna's older frame. Anna gasped, asking what she said. Young cut in, telling them to stop. He asked what they were doing in front of him. He asked Anna if this was her idea of an interview. He said she stripped them and picked at them. Anna started to explain to him. Young said he called them here for useful roles. He accused her of wasting time instead. He said she was just finding faults. Anna said she was double-checking their fit for him. Young asked why she was arguing if she didn't like his picks. He called her bold. Anna begged forgiveness, saying that wasn't her goal. Young turned to Nami, saying she was no better. He said she should have taken the interview quiet, but kept mouthing off. He told her to hush and crawl over. Then he started questioning Nami himself. Young looked at Nami, saying she'd done well. He said she'd been reminded who he was. He told her he'd been too nice and she forgot her place. He told her to say it clear who he was. Nami mumbled, "Master." Young said he'd told her that before he liked her. He said she was smart and proud. He found her sass cute sometimes. He warned her to pick her moments better. He asked if she got it. He said he might ditch her if she didn't. He pointed out plenty of girls wanted to be his toy. He asked if she wasn't happy being his favorite. He told her to nod if she understood. Nami nodded slowly, saying, "Yeah." Young said, "Good." He said Nami needed training for her bad people skills. Then he started interviewing her and Yunji together. He thought to himself the old saying was true. He said more was better when they got along. He told them to use this to bond. He said they'd all work in his company soon. He realized he'd ignored Yunji the most lately. He called her over saying burger. He said this was a treat for her obedience. He asked if she liked it. She blushed under his attention. Then Young brought them all in for a group interview. He ran it smoothly, keeping them in line. They followed his lead, nervous but willing. Later, Young went home and crashed hard. The next morning, he woke up feeling great. He said his head was clear after that sleep. His status window popped up saying congrats. It told him he hit level 20. He said it'd been a while since leveling up and felt refreshed. He thought taming Anna and Nami yesterday did the trick. The window said he'd maxed out this world's level cap. It promoted him to Monster King, boosting all his stats. It gave him a new skill called Marionette. It declared him the world's first monster demon king. Young felt a rush of strength hit him suddenly. The window warned other Monster King candidates had woken up. Young stood up saying this was cool. Then it said his skills got sealed automatically. He grumbled, asking what that was about. He'd been excited to be the monster demon king. He said nothing felt different. He asked what candidates meant. He remembered locking his slaves in the storeroom. He walked over saying good morning to them. He asked if they reflected all night. Anna said yes, Master Shaky. Nami said she really thought it over and begged forgiveness, promising to behave. Anna apologized too, saying she'd never be bold again. She asked for one more shot. Young said it'd be nice if they'd gotten along from the start. He said he was heading out. Nami asked, stammering, if he'd free her. Young told her to reflect more until he got back from shopping. He stepped outside, walking slowly. He thought his new Monster King title jacked up his stats and charm. His window showed his name, age, and title with big boosts. It listed strength, agility, stamina, and magic power all higher. His charm spiked too, but skill seals hit his full power. He couldn't tell how strong he'd gotten. A group of girls passed by giggling. Young called out, asking if they fell for him just then. They laughed, saying he was cute and funny, walking off. One teased, asking if he wanted her number. Another pulled her away, joking to stop. Young thought his sealed skills didn't make girls swoon like he expected. He figured he could still flirt okay. He saw a guy zip by in a sports car. He headed to a supercar dealership, curious. He spotted a car, asking how much. He saw it was 500 million won. A guy told a girl named Yoon to kick Young out. He said her sales sucked, so she should handle pests. Yoon asked for a pardon. Young sat in the car, loving it. Yoon walked up saying sorry, but he had to get out. She said only VIPs could check out rare cars. Young said he'd just buy one then. The president rolled in greeting Yoon. Yoon said he snuck in without notice. He called her prettier now, smirking. Young muttered about that jerk. He called a shop guy over using a skill on him. He said he'd buy the priciest car and told him to bring Yoon over. The president told Yoon she'd better sell a car to impress him. Yoon laughed, saying he always teased her like that. She asked him to buy one for real. A guy cut in saying sorry to interrupt. He said a customer wanted Yoon to sell him a car now. Yoon asked if he meant her confused. The guy said yeah, the customer was set on her. Yoon hurried over to Young. She thought she'd been called to ditch another annoying guy. Young said she finally showed up. He teased that she didn't look happy to see him. Yoon thought this was another trick to waste her time. She worried if she didn't sell soon, she'd be in trouble. Young noticed her cold reaction. He thought her low interest was odd with his high charm. He'd planned to flirt, but now wanted to mess with her. He asked why she was just standing there. He told her to sell him the car already. Yoon blinked, asking if he was really buying. Young said yeah, why else would he call her? She started to prep, but he cut her off. He said he changed his mind. He called her slow and rude, saying he wouldn't buy now. He asked who'd want a car from someone bad at her job. He said he might be joking. He offered her a second shot to win him over. Yoon asked if he was teasing her. Young shrugged, saying maybe. She snapped, saying she was with a big client. She said his jokes could ruin her deal. Young asked if she meant the creepy rich guy. He said the man kept eyeing her legs. He called him a weirdo and said joking with him was better. Yoon got mad, glaring at him. Young asked why she looked so scary. She apologized, saying she'd been rude but was desperate. She said hitting her sales goal mattered more than messing with him. She said dealing with the president was worth her time. She turned to leave. Young said it sounded like she'd trade her body to sell. Yoon shot back, saying she'd do what it took. Young asked if he bought her to give herself up. She said only if he could pay for it. Young grinned, saying they had a deal. He handed her his phone to input the car's price. Yoon saw 20 billion won in his account and froze. Young asked if she'd sell him the car now. He said it wasn't time to stare at the money. He reminded her of her promise to offer herself. He gave her an out to walk away. He said if she wanted the sale to lock the door and come closer. She locked it quickly. She apologized for her earlier attitude. She said her promise was a heat-of-the-moment thing. Young said it was fine, he was generous. She asked about the deal nervously. He told her to strip so he could check her out first. He asked why she hesitated. He said if she wouldn't, he'd ditch the contract. He hit her with a skill, making her shake. Yoon thought her body went weird suddenly. She said she'd do it voice shaky. Young told her to crawl over with the papers when ready. He said he'd pick a car based on her effort. Yoon thanked him for the chance. She moved closer, ready to seal the deal. Yoon followed Young's every word without a pause. Young thought to himself why she was so quick to obey. His status window chimed in with an answer. It said Yoon was a proud career woman stressed by poor sales. His charm didn't kick in right because of her tough attitude. She saw his wealth and now trusted him, boosting her interest. Young nodded, saying that explained her sudden loyalty. Yoon asked what he meant, confused. She stammered, asking what he was talking about. Young thought she seemed picky but was wild like Nayoung deep down. He wondered if he should push her harder. He asked her something curious. He reminded her she'd said she'd do anything if he bought a car. He asked if that meant anyone could get her. He said she needed a wake-up slap. He told her he liked her service but hated her acting loose with others. Yoon gasped, saying sorry out loud. Young told her to grab the car catalog. He said he'd pick a car now. He told her to keep busy while he looked. He asked if he should choose fast as her reward. He flipped through, saying there were tons of models. He said they looked similar and he couldn't decide. He pointed at one, saying it looked cool with doors that lifted up. Yoon said it had a strong 12-cylinder engine. Young asked why she got quiet. He wondered if it didn't fit him. She said no, it suited him fine. Young said it was his call. He picked it for now and asked about extras. He said he didn't know what peripherals meant. He told her to pick ones she liked. Yoon promised to choose the best for him. A guy knocked from outside asking if Yoon was still in. He said the room was in use right. Yoon shouted she was signing the contract. The guy said he got it and left. Yoon turned to Young, saying he didn't even pause when someone knocked. They kept working on the deal papers. At a coffee shop on Christmas, Ran sipped an iced Americano. She thought jingle bells were nonsense with the new year here. She'd hoped to spend happy days with Young after exams. She grumbled he'd been impossible to see. She got a text from Sung saying congrats on university. He asked what she was doing. She sighed, noting it wasn't Young. He hadn't called once and she only got messages from others. She felt mad thinking he ignored her despite her cuteness. She thought she'd cheat on him if she could. At a nearby table, a guy whispered she was pretty. His friend hushed him, saying she'd hear. Ran wondered if they meant her. The first guy panicked, saying she looked their way. His friend called him an idiot for being loud. The guy walked over saying, "Excuse me." He asked if she was waiting for someone. Ran said, "Not really." He said she was so pretty he fell for her instantly. He asked for her number. Just then, Young texted asking where she was. Ran said sorry, her master called and rushed off. The guy asked what the master, confused about it. She laughed, saying boyfriend, and left. Outside, she thought Young did whatever he wanted. He pulled up in a Lamborghini top down. Everyone around gasped, saying it was cool. Young asked if she thought it was awesome. Ran said yeah, but asked why he'd drive open in winter. They hopped in and sped off. She asked where he got the car. Young said he bought it, obviously. Ran asked if he was joking since it was so pricey. She told him not to say he stole it. Young reminded her he'd promised a worry-free life if she obeyed. He said since she got into university, he'd treat her. He offered a gift and a date for the holidays. Ran blinked, saying a date surprised. They hit a Christmas market buzzing with lights. Ran gushed at a tree, saying it was beautiful. She told Young to come take a photo with her. They ate ice cream, shopped for clothes, and snapped more pictures. Later, she eyed a bag, saying it was nice. Young asked if she wanted it. She said no, it was too costly, and they'd shopped enough. Young asked why not, saying he'd buy it. Ran insisted they'd done plenty already. She said everything he got her was great. She said wearing them made them fancy. Young asked if she was happy with the gifts. Ran said it wasn't just that. She said they'd never had a real date before. Young pulled her close suddenly. She asked what he was doing, flustered. He said he was in a good mood too. He said holding her like this felt like they were real lovers. Ran said he could do it any time. Young teased, saying she looked extra hot today. Ran yelped, asking what he was doing since people might see. He said let them look. He said she stood out with guys glancing her way. He said he had to show off his woman. Ran said she was his without all this. Young asked if she had anything underneath. He laughed, saying she didn't. Ran said she took it off quickly, knowing he'd check. He said she knew him too well. He asked if she was okay with a little teasing. Ran warned they might get caught with so many people around. Ran tugged at Young, saying to walk straight. She worried people passing by would stare. She stammered that if he wanted to mess around, he should freeze time quickly. Young asked if it was that serious. He said stopping time wasn't so simple. He teased if that was how she asked her master for favors. He said since Ran wanted it so bad, he'd do it. He flicked on his stopwatch skill. Time froze around them. He grinned, saying she got what she asked for. He asked if she wanted him to start time again. Then he started poking fun at her hard. His status window pinged, saying telekinesis level 5 kicked in. He sent Ran floating up with a thought. She hovered, caught in his power. He kept teasing her as she drifted in the air. Ran squeaked, surprised but stuck. Young laughed, enjoying her reactions. They goofed off more in the mall after. He pulled her into a game of Valorant on a display setup. They battled it out, joking and shoving. At Choy's school, he thought back to meeting Min-young. They were shy and struggled to talk at first. He'd spent enough time with her to know his feelings. He decided to confess today or regret it forever. It was his last shot before graduation ended. The ceremony wrapped up, leaving him nervous, but ready. Later, Min-young smoked with her friends outside. One said it was their final day to smoke in uniforms. Min-young agreed, saying smoking felt dull as adults. A friend asked what she'd do after bombing her exams. Min-young sighed, saying her mom wanted her to retake them. Another teased that she should have studied like them. Min-young snapped, calling them low-rank losers. Choy ran up, calling her name. He stammered, asking to talk alone for a minute. She asked what he needed to say privately. They stepped aside. She asked if he wanted an apology for past bullying, blaming the boys. Choy said no, it wasn't that. Min-young told him to hurry since she had karaoke plans. Choy froze, thinking he was too nervous to confess. He remembered wanting to be bold like Oh Young. He blurted out he'd liked her all through high school. He asked her to be his girlfriend. Min-young called him a loser, asking if he was nuts. She thought it was a revenge confession prank. She said she was dating Hyukjin now. Choy said Hyukjin was with Jihye recently and cheated. Min-young said she was Hyukjin's girlfriend regardless. Choy asked if she liked Hyukjin for his fighting skills. He asked if beating Hyukjin would win her over. His status window flashed a subquest as a Monster King's knight. It told him to fight Hyukjin for Min-young. Later, young Ran Na-young and Choy sat at a bar. Ran poured Choy a drink, saying he handled liquor well. She called him an adult now. Na-young gave him a graduation gift from her and Ran. She said it wasn't pricey, but they picked it with care. Ran teased it was rare from older women. Young leaned in, asking Choy what he was hiding. Choy said it was about something. His window showed a knight's quest to beat Hyukjin and claim Min-young. It promised a level up and boosted his stats. Failure meant losing his knight status and his dignity. Choy said he needed to talk about it. Alone with young Choy explained he confessed and got rejected. He said a quest appeared to fight Hyukjin for her. Young said it wasn't a big deal. Choy worried the window was a side effect of something. Young brushed it off, saying they'd just go beat Hyukjin. He told Ran and Na-young to stay and chat. Na-young said they'd wait and come back safe. Young asked Choy if he knew where Hyukjin was. Choy said he could sense his location somehow. At a karaoke, Hyukjin teased Min-young close. She pushed back, saying others were watching. She pointed out Jihye was there too. Hyukjin said he ditched Jihye ages ago. He said she was with someone else now. Min-young hesitated, saying okay, but still unsure. Young burst in, saying it was the right room. He told Choy they were just in time. He said Hyukjin was about to mess with his girl. Choy saw Hyukjin's hands on Min-young. His window lit up, saying his night rage skill woke up. He swung hard, clocking Hyukjin square. Hyukjin reeled, shouting at Choy, calling him a loser. He said the punch was a cheap shot. He asked why Choy hit him out of nowhere. Choy didn't stop swinging harder. Hyukjin begged him to quit saying he was sorry. Choy demanded to know what he did wrong. He yelled at Hyukjin's friends to vanish. He warned them to take Hyukjin and go or else. They froze, unsure what to do. Choy tapped his night skill vigor, roaring at them. He told them to scream fast. They grabbed Hyukjin and bolted out. Young watched, impressed, saying Choy handled it. He'd worried for nothing. He thought he'd step in if it got bad, but didn't need to. His status window flashed, saying the night quest was done. It gave Choy a reward and boosted Young's stats by 3. Young thought he'd maxed out, but could still grow like this. The window added Choy unlocked a bonus stage. Young wondered what that meant. Choy turned to Minyoung, saying he beat Hyukjin as promised. He said she had to date him now. He leaned in close, asking if that meant he could do anything. Minyoung thought his sudden kiss threw her off. She felt her body react fast to it. She stammered, saying it was too quick for that. Choy asked why, since she was fine with Hyukjin. He said it was okay for Hyukjin, but not him. Minyoung said that's not what she meant. Choy started punishing her hard for it. Young watched, saying, "Look at these kids." He asked if this was the bonus stage. He grumbled about them acting wild in front of him. He debated scolding them. Suddenly, Minyoung's friend gaped, asking what they were doing. Young spun around, asking who she was and why she stayed. The friend said she meant to leave. She said she was too shocked and her legs gave out. She stood frozen, watching it unfold. Then everyone in that room did some karaoke. Later, Young sat alone, staring at his status window. It flashed, saying Choi's night quest earned him Minyoung as a maid. It boosted Young's stats by 3 and let him use her as a slave. Young thought the night maid idea was wild. He called the system dangerous for thinking he was trash. It tempted him to mess with Choi's girlfriend. The window said Minyoung was available anytime. Young thought it was sly, pushing him to betray Choy. He said it wasn't like he'd use her endlessly. He grumbled that the system saw him as pure evil. It asked if he'd link souls to enjoy Minyoung for a stat boost. Young called it cheap NTR bait. He said it dared to mock him as the Demon King. He worried there'd be a penalty if he didn't check. He decided to peek once for Choi's sake. He used a soul connection and popped up like a ghost. He saw Choy and Minyoung playing Valorant together. He thought they were nuts, getting cozy daytime. He saw they were crazy for each other. It felt like a sappy drama. He decided to let Choy keep Minyoung as his only maid. His window pinged, saying his kindness hurt Choi's night dignity. It cut a random stat by 3 forever. Young left annoyed, muttering about Choy. He thought since his stat dropped, he'd gift Minyoung to Choy. He'd make Choy work to fix his stats later. He planned to shape Choy up tonight. Meanwhile, Choy got a text from Young. It said to meet at Hey O'Hare by 9 for a free cut. Choy headed over curious. At night, they hit Harry's salon. Young called out asking if anyone was there. Harry said a customer this late was odd since they were closed. Young grinned, saying he knew she'd be there. He said Yunji told him she practiced late. He greeted Harry, saying it had been a while. Choy said hi, nice to meet her. Harry asked why they showed up suddenly. Young teased, asking why she wasn't thrilled to see him. Harry asked if he wanted something from her. The window said she couldn't be a slave, but was wary. Young said he just wanted a haircut for Choy. He called her a great hairdresser and said relax. Harry asked if that was really it. She said she didn't buy him coming late just for a trim. Young admitted she was sharp. He said he had one other thing. He asked her to join them for a wild night after the cut. Harry froze, asking what he said. She repeated it, shocked. Choy yelled, asking what Young was even talking about. Young acted like they didn't hear. He repeated, "Let's have a 3-party out loud." He teased Harry, saying she was already into it. He said her body remembered him. He called her wild and said she wouldn't pass up a chance. Harry snapped, asking what nonsense he was spouting. Harry grabbed her scissors and started on Choy's haircut. Young told her to make him look trendy like a bad boy. Harry sighed, asking what he meant by that. She said she'd give him a clean cut instead. She told Young to sit and chill. Choy sat quiet as she worked her magic. She snipped and shaped with focus. When she finished, she stepped back. She said it was done and looked fine. She told them no thanks needed. Young grinned, saying she turned Choy cool in one go. He called her skill top-notch. He said Yunji always went to her for a reason. He was glad he trusted her with it. Harry snapped, telling him not to mention Yunji. The air got tense for a second. They all brushed it off quickly. Young suggested firing up Valorant to pass the night. Later at Youngwoon's restaurant, a customer called out for more meat. Youngwoon said she'd bring it right away. She set the food down, smiling. Another customer said she looked younger every day. Youngwoon blushed, saying thanks, even if it was just flattery. She laughed it off, shy. The first customer said it was true, calling her their idol. He teased, asking if she was secretly seeing a young guy. Youngwoon said no way at her age. She added she was already married. The customer asked, wasn't she a widow before? He pressed, who'd she marry, sounding shocked. Young walked in just then. Youngwoon apologized, saying she was late with so many customers. She asked, had he waited long? Young said no, he hadn't. He didn't expect Choy home late, so he ate and cleaned up. Youngwoon asked, why didn't he wait for her? She said she could have washed him herself. Young said he wasn't a kid and could handle it. He noted she was a hit with older guys. He asked, was she sneaking looks from one without him knowing? Youngwoon said, of course not. She asked, why would she leave him for anyone else? Young pointed out her clothes were bolder lately. He said she wore makeup she didn't before. Youngwoon admitted she tried harder to look good for him. She said she heard he was popular with younger girls. She told him don't worry. She said it was fine if he saw others. She knew a young, handsome guy like him had options. She said she loved him so much, she couldn't live without him. She admitted, feeling nervous, comparing herself to his pretty young friends. She asked him to help her not dwell on those thoughts. They sat down to eat soup together. The warm meal eased the moment's wait. Young suddenly asked why Choy was so late. He wondered if Choy always came home that late. Youngwoon said she wanted to talk about it. Young asked if something happened to him. Youngwoon said she wasn't sure, maybe it was late puberty. She was worried because he stayed out all night without telling her. She thought he might be going wild. Young nodded, saying that's how Choy had been acting. He said Choy wasn't listening to his mom. Youngwoon asked if he was upset about missing university. She wondered if bullies were messing with him again. Young stayed quiet, thinking it over. Later at a restaurant, Choy rubbed his head, asking why Young smacked him. He said Young's hits hurt badly. Young snapped, asking who told him to stay out without telling his mom. Young gasped, saying Choy wasn't going home. Young said yeah, he thought Choy lost it. Choy asked how they knew, saying he didn't tell Young he was out. Young said his mom was so worried she called him. Young told Young not to scold Choy too hard. She asked Choy why he was staying out, if something was up. Choy said he'd been hanging with his girlfriend lately. He lost track of time and stayed out sometimes. Young asked if it was the girl he just started dating. She said he was out with her all night. Choy said things just happened that way. Young teased that she thought he was sweet, but he was bold. Young warned if Choy kept sneaking out, he'd tell Young he was with someone else. Young blinked, asking if Choy really stepped out on his girlfriend. She asked Young what he meant, shocked. Choy groaned, asking Young how he could say that in front of Young. He said it was their secret. Young asked when he ever called it a secret. He said just because Young was there, Choy was acting tough. He teased if Choy was chasing Young now with his new confidence. Choy froze, caught off guard. Choy shook his head at Young, saying it made no sense. He asked why he'd chase Young's girlfriend, calling him his mentor. He said Young and Ran were too pretty for him to even think about. Young blinked, asking if she was so pretty he couldn't dream of her. She teased that Ran maybe, but her too. Choy said Ran had a sly, charming vibe like a fox. He called Young a pure fairy born in a lily. Young grinned, asking if Choy was secretly after Young. He said Choy's denial sounded like flirting. Choy groaned, saying that wasn't it. He just admired them like sisters. He said they felt like family to him. Young smiled, saying his heartfelt compliment made her heart skip. She said it felt nice. Young teased her, asking if she was enjoying it too much. Young said she'd never been praised like that, so she felt giddy. She said if she didn't like Young, she might have fallen for Choy's words. Young stared at her, eyes narrow. He told Choy not to stay out late with Young. He said he'd arranged for Choy to join his academy to retake exams. He told him to do it without whining. Choy sighed, saying he got it. Young waved him off, saying they were done. Choy thought Young just scolded him the whole time. Later, Young and Young walked outside. Young grumbled, saying he didn't like Choy one bit today. Young told him to let it go, calling Choy his sweet little brother. Young grabbed her neck, asking if she was siding with another guy right in front of him. Naun apologized, saying she saw Choy like a brother. She gasped, caught off guard. Young teased, saying she'd snap out of it after some discipline. Naun begged, saying she was sorry and messed up. After that, Young started punishing her more. On a city billboard, a creepy girl stood watching. She saw Young and Naun messing around through the walls. Her eyes glowed, super curious. She said this looked fun. Her secret spies told her a demon king woke up, so she ran here fast. She gasped, shocked to see him. She didn't expect his face. He was the monster king, not just any demon king. Her voice shook, surprised and excited.